Hi, this is Bobby Curnow, Chief Turtle Editor at IDW Publishing, and you are going to have a shell of a good time inside the pull bag.
Welcome to The Pull Bags, Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the Back Issue Classics are also what's in the Pull Bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is yet again another Back Issue Classics. I'm one of your hosts, TFG and Mike. Joining me today is Mr. Joe Reed. Hello, sir.
Hello, everybody.
It's really funny. I would have to look this up, but I believe it was August of 1984 that TMNT started. So I believe we are in the month that the 30th anniversary started 30 years ago.
I'm sorry to say that was May.
Oh,
it was a free comic book day.
Maybe I'm thinking of, I know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a different franchise. But yeah, no, 30th anniversary of TMNT. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
It's a new renaissance for us Turtles fans who've been with it for, 25 years out of the 30.
Yeah, I'm probably about the same. I would assume. I know I wasn't into the comics, but I got into the 27 if you count 87 specifically, but yeah, I mean, Turtles has been around forever. They have had multiple incarnations. The new Nickelodeon cartoon is doing gangbusters. That show, sometimes it's a little silly and over the top, like the episode with them live action role playing. But then they go and do continuity and finding out about Splinter and Shredder and Karai and all this and all that and everything else. And then they just flip you on your head, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I was optimistic for that TV series when I saw a clip before it had launched where they were in the dojo. And it was very serious, using the dojo terms that I was familiar with because of my Aikido training. And they were doing wrist locks that were real wrist locks and throws that we did in Aikido. And it's like, oh, that's amazing. And then I watch it, and sometimes it just gets too silly. I want to love that show so bad, and I can't get into it. But I think it'll be something that I will be buying on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever, and watching with my son. He's 3 now. Give him a couple years when he can know the difference between hitting somebody and saving somebody by hitting somebody. Then we'll watch it. I think it'll be a show we can watch together.
Oh, absolutely. I do know that the first season is getting a complete season release.
Thank God.
I don't know if it's going to be blue. I do know it's going to be regular DVD. Mm-hmm. They have not made any announcements about Blu-ray for it, but I do know the first season of the TMNT Nickelodeon cartoon is getting a full season DVD release. We are, as of this recording, we are 2 days away, we're about a week away, but when this recording goes up, we will be 2 days away from the Jonathan Liebsman directed, Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles. Now, I know they initially wanted to call the film Ninja Turtles and drop the Teenage Mutant, but you can still see the Teenage Mutant in every piece of the logo that I've seen.
The only place it doesn't appear is on the toys, because the toys went to production before they decided to toss Teenage Mutant back on there.
Yeah. I'm cautiously in the middle. I don't want to say cautiously optimistic, but I'm cautiously in the middle. I have no, oh my god, low expectations, and no, oh my god, this is going to be the best movie ever, which I don't think anyone will be saying that after they see it. Honestly, the main draw for me for this movie is the fact that one of my favorite composers is composing the music, Brian Tyler, who did Transformers Prime music, who did Fast Five.
Wow.
Who did Iron Man 3, who did Thor the Dark World. He is composing the music that'll be in the Turtles movie from Liebsman and Bay. And honestly, that's the one thing that I'm really excited about when it comes to this movie.
I keep hearing little bits of news come out that get me more and more excited, like seeing Somebody pointed out an Utram, one of the little brain critters, on a Japanese tapestry. He's wielding a sword, little brain guy. Okay, think if that's indeed what it is. It's blurry, it's in the background, but yeah, it's pink and it looks like a brain. Things like that. Things finding out that the Eric Sachs character might not actually be Shredder, that there's that shadowy Japanese-looking dude. There are little things that come out that have me thinking this might be a pleasant surprise. Transformers 3 was a pleasant surprise for me, and it's proof that I can go into a movie and telling everybody and the internet and the friends, this is going to be a terrible movie, it's going to be terrible, and then I go see it, like, no, that actually was pretty decent. It's probably the best one out of the 4. So I can go into this Ninja Turtles movie confident in saying that, yes, it's probably going to be bad, but if I'm surprised, I'm going to be surprised and I'll like it. And so I am also hesitant to say cautiously optimistic, but I will go in there with my head nodding and an open mind. I think it'll be interesting.
I guess we could say we're both straddling the fence on which way we're going to go as far as a negative or a positive opinion about it. I miss the old suit. I miss the practicality and the actual stunts that were done in the original films.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to miss here. I get it. It's the 21st century. CGI has to be done in everything. I'm just not sure.
Laird said a couple of years ago, if he were helping make a new Ninja Turtle movie, that actually when it was when the CG thing was just getting started, the CG film, he said around then that if he did it again, or if they asked him to help do it again, that he would push for physical suits with computer-generated faces, just to get the animated lip reading, get that matched better. But, and I kind of agree with that. That's probably even the way that I'd have done it now. Those suits look great. Even I just watched that film not 2 weeks ago, and it still looks good. Jim Henson's workshop, Brian Henson, did a great job with all of those creations.
Absolutely. It's so funny. I just cannot believe I actually have the chance to tell you this. I think I might have already told you. We over on one of my other shows, Pixels in the Animation, it's our video game cartoon review show where my buddy Neil and I go through every single episode of 9 different video game cartoons. We just wrapped up on the Captain N episodes, and we got to interview the voice of Captain N, Matt Hill.
Awesome.
Who it turns out he was the suit actor in Turtles 3 for Raph.
No way.
And he was the voice of Raph in Next Mutation.
No way.
Yes way.
That's amazing. Oh, cool.
All right, so we're here today inside the pull bag to do, like I said, another Back Issue Classics. We're going to be covering...
Hold on, before we dive into the pull bag, I'd like to point out to you and our listeners that there is an exquisite 30th anniversary Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles documentary that is on Canada Netflix.
Yes.
You've got to download, if you're in the United States, like probably all of our listeners, you can download a Google Chrome plugin that will allow you to holla better internet. That's what it is. You download that, you can trick your computer into looking like it's from Canada, and you can watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles documentary there. Very, very amazing.
I believe the Turtle Power documentary actually releases August 12th. I think that's correct.
Is that on DVD, Blu-ray, or is that on?
Yeah, it's DVD, Blu-ray, and digital, I believe.
I will absolutely be buying that.
Let me look here. Turtle Power. When does it say? Does it say when is it coming out? It doesn't say on their banner picture. I believe, because I saw the trailer for it, I believe it's August 8th. It's either August 8th or yeah, I was right. Pre-order now, August 12th.
I totally couldn't wait. I spent less than 3 minutes downloading and installing the plugin, and then my Netflix was watching it. It ends with Eastman and Laird finally coming back together to sit at the same table to sign autographs at Jetpack Comics for Free Comic Book Day at the 30th anniversary of the release of the first issue. Way cool. They'll probably never ever work together again. They might not be able to, but there it is.
I know they did, and we will be
Oh, yeah.
covering this.
That's right.
We will be covering this eventually. They did that that special for IDW. Oh God, what is it
It was the
called? I can't.
30th anniversary cover.
Yeah.
They
It,
collaborated on a cover for the first time in like 10, 15 years.
was it just the cover? I thought it was the whole book.
No, the book inside the book are 5 to 7 page stories by a bunch of different artists. Eastman
Okay.
does a section of it, but Laird doesn't. He's
Oh.
bless his heart, he does what he does, but he's kind of not drawing as fast as he used to. And when he draws, he tends to go crazy detailed, which was why the Mirage books were always 2-3 months apart back in the day.
Yeah.
He's such a
sure.
slow drawer. He's like me. He's really slow. Hey, I can relate to him. Awesome.
So we've got Turtles Volume 7. This is City Fall Part 2. The biggest event in TMNT history continues. Shredder reveals his new second-in-command and launches a full-scale war on New York City. With allegiances shifting, the Turtles must formulate a plan to fight back against their deadliest enemy. Brought to you by, of course, Kevin Eastman, Tom Waltz, and Mateus Santaluco. The trade cover is one of the City Fall covers. It's got Leo on it with in his Chunin Shredder garb, and I believe the two pictures between City and Fall is Casey and April, maybe? I'm not sure.
On my cover with Leonardo, it's got the Savat clan leader, gang leader, and it looks like Karai.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what it is. You're right. That's what it is. And on... So we've got, for the creative here, we've got, obviously, Kevin Eastman, Bobby Curnow, and Tom Waltz all did the story. The script was by Waltz. Santaluco is on arts. Eastman's on layouts.
Hey, he hasn't done that in a while.
Yep. It's only for issue 25. Additional art by Charles Paul Wilson III. Colors by Rhonda Pattison. Additional colors by Ian Herring. Of course, letters by Sean Lee and Tom B. Long. And of course, Bobby's on the series edits, and collected edits are done by Justin Eisinger and Alonzo Simon. Since the last time we did one of these, I'm really loving City Fall.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect from this, and it's one of the they should turn this into this entire series to this point should be a cartoon series. Honestly,
I'd watch it.
I don't think it would work for Nickelodeon, aiming at younger kids, but for us adults, oh man, this would be amazing to watch, because this is some of the best writing, some of the best art, best everything. We've got this first page here where we open in New York City, and it's Karai and the Foot Clan, and the Savat attack them, and you see how they did City Fall Part 4?
Yeah, graffiti on the wall. How Will Eisner's spirit of them.
Yes. Well, I was wondering if I didn't know where they were, being on a rooftop and the Savat jumped down on top of them, I would have loved it if they would have done the same thing with the graffiti, except do it with some guy standing against the wall with a newspaper.
Yeah, and he gets painted over.
Yep. So the Savat and the Foot are fighting each other, and Karai says, "Foot, they must not pass. We are too outnumbered. Not for long."
It's a very anime-inspired panel there. Not anime, manga-inspired panel there with the very dilated pupils.
Oh, yeah. I
Hey,
mean,
wait a minute.
she looks like a zombie, yeah. So this fight between the Savat and the Foot kind of comes to a head when Leo shows up, and 2 words: destroy them. And the battle continues. I love the dark tones. the dark colors in the backgrounds in the beginning of this. And what I like best about this is how Santaluco and Pattison and all the other colorists and artists that are on this. What I love about this first issue here is that the fight is all dark background colors, and then when we get to the hospital scene with Casey and April talking to Donnie over Skype, I assume it's Skype. I don't know. It just shows a giant video screen. It's light. So I like how they're going, a mix between the light and the dark. I love that. Leo's, basically given this Savat guy, what for, saying that the Foot will no longer tolerate disobedience from you, Savat, or anyone else in this city. Tonight is just a small taste of what will happen if you ignore what I am saying. So Leo is pretty dark, and this really, I don't know if it's just me, or this kind of reminds me of the opening to the 2007 CGI film, where, the turtles are all off on, of course Donnie and Mikey are together, but Leo is off doing, Leo is off being a bad guy in this, and then Raph is off sulking somewhere. Kind of reminds me of that opening where it's like Leo left, Donnie's tech support, Mikey's dressed as a giant turtle going to birthday parties, and Raph has become the Street Avenger.
Well, I think that this episode issue, that series kind of drives home how important Leo is. I think I'm a big fan of Leo, but a lot of people relate better to the other turtles, and when you take the leader away from that, how the rest of them just begin to lose direction. He's pretty important, as boring as he is for being, the one who walks the narrow path and doesn't deviate. He's integral to keeping the team together. And you remove him and everything falls apart, and we get to see that here.
I mean, Mikey and Donnie are doing a fairly good job here.
Yeah, but they're also sitting on their hands in the lair not getting anything done.
Well, true. So we go to the hospital. We see Casey and April talking to Donnie, and Mikey pops into frame. They're filling each other in on what's going on, and Casey wants to get up out of the bed and help.
Sorry, you got jagged in the belly by Shredder. You can sit down for a while.
So April's like, yeah, no, you're not going anywhere. And we have this really touching moment between the two of them, and then bam, all right, April, all right, Casey. So, they're kissing, and they're, I guess an item now.
Officially,
yeah. So these first couple of pages here, we get what Leo is doing with the Foot. We get Donnie talking to April and Mikey eating pizza in the background. And now we get to Raph. I love how they set this up, where it it's just, I'm trying to think how to put this. It's so great seeing how they transition from character to character without it feeling like it's a hardship transition, where how you sometimes might watch a YouTube video and instead of a fade out, they'll just go to black immediately and then start the next scene. They don't do that here. It flows very well.
It's very cinematic the way that they're going from this, and usually, like and I think what softens it doesn't happen on the page we're looking at here, but it happens elsewhere. Some character will start to say something, but then it will finish on the next page with the scene transition to a different area, to a different character, and that just really ties it together. You can almost see that happen in film, where they'll cut to the next scene and you'll still hear the person finish their line, and somehow in this neat artistic way it relates to what's happening on that next page. Those soften that transition and make it flow really nice, and they do that quite a bit in this book.
Yeah, and it is very, very awesome. So Raph is out trying to find answers about Splinter, and he's beating these guys up, and he's basically kicking their ass, and Damn it, I don't have time for this crap. Oh god, I can so hear original Raph from the original movie saying that. Oh man.
When they're not having him be kind of an angry buffoon, Sean Astin does a wonderful job with Raph too, better than I would have expected.
Yeah, he does an amazing job. I think by now in the show, we're so far along. Like, they dealt with his temper in season 1, and now it's just kind of like a mix between, snarky and him getting really pissed. We get to the next page, and one of these guys hits Raph over the back of the shell with I assume it's a baseball bat of some sort. It looks like it's splintered out. He calls him a mutant freak. Didn't I just warn you about being stupid? That is awesome. So Raph gets Raph gets some information from this guy, and we then go back to the Savat versus the Foot. And we see the Savat kicking, what looks to be a Foot ninja.
Yeah, I think this is a different location, because this is the head of the gang here.
Yeah, that's true.
And the text that ties it in on the previous page, it's the thug that Raphael was beating, because this thing is going on in the city. It's huge, man. Next page, It's going all the way to the top, and we're hanging out with the top of the Savat gang.
Yeah. And I mean, they're just doing everything. I mean, we get the Savat gang, talking about how, are they predators or are they prey? So we get we then go to Shredder, who's still wearing his Snuggie. I'm never not going to make that joke about this series. So Leo and Karai are back, and Master Shredder's asking for their report, and Kitsune is smelling the flowers. And Leo gives the report. Karai says, I must voice my displeasure with our recent mission. I believe I serve a higher purpose to our clan and our campaign than acting as a simple bait, grandfather. Why do you speak to me of this, Karai? It was my Chunin who made the decision to utilize you in such a manner. I think there's a little shred of Leo in himself right now. I don't think I know he's all big and bad right now, but I really think that there's a little shred that little shred of himself that he hasn't lost. This is actually what made him use her as bait. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It's a dirtbag move that Shredder's playing with Karai. He's letting this person who helped bring him back to life get thrown to the side, and he's just so weary by her being concerned by it. He just doesn't want her to bother him about it, but she's still a useful instrument to him. I can't help but think that Shredder is playing an angle with her, like he played with Kitsune in the one shot where he killed her whole entire family and burnt down her original home. Like that, that's going to piss her off. Why did you do that? And why
you
is
mean
Alopex?
Alopex?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said, but yes, thank you. He's playing. I think he's playing angles with both of them, and I'm not sure that I've seen the Karai angle pay off. Maybe he just wants her to work harder. I don't know.
Yeah, and so we get he wants her to work harder. So we get Karai storming off, and Leo asks Shredder if he can do some training, and may he also go. And Shredder dismisses him, and then Leo sees his parents, or what he thinks are his parents, or he sees something of the past of Shredder and Kitsune, which again, this is another reason why I say that the way that Santaluco is composing the differences in characters, I still say Kitsune is a ringer for Tang Shen. I know she's not Tang Shen, but it just, with what Leo is seeing here, it's like, hey, they look like the same person.
Well, those noses are different.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, maybe she had a nose job in the 20th century. Who knows? So we get Shredder and Kitsune. What?
I don't trust her, man. Kitsune,
No.
and I don't know what her motives are yet here, especially now. Like, what is she after?
I don't know what her I mean, other than saving Shredder and all that back in the olden days, I don't know what her motives are. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is a huge question mark. So we get, her saying, so long as his family lives, they pose a threat to our work. Yes, unfortunate situation that will be rectified in time, I assure you.
Gosh, why does she think Leo's so important? Why does she need Shredder to be what he is? It's all crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. So crazy. So we get to the next page where we see, it ain't right, April. A good guy like Casey didn't deserve to suffer like this, but the loser dad of his sure as hell does. So Casey's dad shows up at the hospital, and he starts screaming, "No more, no more!" And he breaks a mirror. And we see this giant green and purple dragon tattoo on him. What?
Yours is
Now,
green and purple? Or green and blue?
well, okay, blue and purple and red.
Okay, I thought you said, like, I was thinking yours was colored different in your book than mine.
No. It's my eyes. I looked at it as like a bluish green, and I just said green altogether.
He's a
But no,
friggin'
it's
purple dragon.
yeah, he's the friggin' purple dragon. We'll talk about him a little later, because I think you and I are gonna have very, very differing opinions on who Casey's dad really is, or who he really was. So we go then to Master Splinter, who goes to Old Hob. He doesn't look like a dog this much. Like, in this issue, he's not very, like, he's more rat-like in his face than dog-like.
And because of that, I don't think he looks exactly too much like Splinter anymore, but I'm cool with this. I can deal.
So Splinter and Old Hob, he's wants Old Hob's help in confronting the Foot. And Old Hob is like, sure, I'll help you out if you help me out. Because Hobbs' whole thing is he wants his own mutant army. Yay. Hob with a mutant army, that should never happen. So 28:37. Hang on one second. I gotta pause this. I gotta shut the window because I can hear lawnmower sounds. Beep. Okay, where were we? Okay, yeah. So we get to the Foot. The Foot, Casey's dad is a Foot member of the Foot, and then we go back to Raph. He is still stalking these people. He's actually stalking the cops. Wow. And apparently they are crooked cops. So at least they justify it.
Yeah, these are the cops who are turning their back on the Savat that we got a hint about that earlier.
Right. I do again, I love seeing the turtles in shadow. Um, because Raph is like, you should totally run, dudes.
I've got a story in my head that I want to draw if
Go
I could
ahead.
draw better.
Oh,
With the turtles being like our stereotypical ninjas, where you don't see them, they don't. They're not making jokes. They're just in the shadows, in and out. I want to do it someday because I think I'd like to see it. And since nobody's given it to me, I'll make it myself.
so. Oh no, that wasn't Raph that says
No,
it.
that was
That was
Mikey.
Mike. That was
Yeah,
Mikey. Okay,
Raph was
yeah, that was
snatched
my.
away from the cops and pulled into the
Right,
shadows,
right,
and
right.
Mikey intimidates the cops to keep him from trying to decide to
Yeah,
go down the hall.
right, right, right. And
It took me a
Raph's
minute to
like,
figure that out too last time.
yeah, because it didn't sound like something Raph would say. It sounded like something Mikey would say, and so we get to. I was just about to find out where Leo is. No, you're about to poke a cop's eye out. Hey kid, you'll poke your eye out with that sigh. um, you're out of control, Raph. I'll show you out of control. Knock it off. It's refreshing that it's Mikey that
Yeah.
has to be the one to split them apart. I cannot believe Mikey has to be the sensible one out of them all. And again, this just goes back to what I've been saying. The entire time we've been reviewing these, these books here in the pull bag for Turtles, the fact that Eastman and Waltz give Mikey more than what we would ever
hmm
expect from him.
He's the heart of the team, and it tears him apart to watch his brothers fight like that, to sincerely fight. I think he
Yeah,
encourages it when
when they're
he's
trying
egging
to,
them on, and it's just an
yeah.
innocent thing. But when it's serious like this, he's like, no, 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 guys, we got to be together. It is a very refreshing thing to see the obnoxious character be given something to do that's important. That makes
Yeah,
us like him more.
it is so awesome. It really is. Um, so Raph, takes the blame and realizes that it's all his fault, and um, he says, "I didn't, if I didn't lose it when Shredder hurt him, Leah wouldn't have been gone like this." Um,
Well, duh, Raph.
yeah, Raph. Um, Is he? Oh yeah, that's right. He's still wearing his coat. Okay, because I'm looking at this bottom right hand
Mhm.
panel. Um, you know, they're talking about so where do we start looking? Um, you know, I was like, wait, why doesn't Raph have anything on the? Oh, that's because he's got his coat on still. Um, so we get back to Shredder. They are going to attack the Savat. Um, and Alopex is like, this is all wrong, and cries, "What is Alopex? Doesn't it bother you being put on the second string like this, Karai? I mean, after all you've done for the foot, you have to step aside for that reptile?" um, and Alopex has a damn good
Mhm.
point. Um, and
My favorite
we
reveal. Karai has a
yeah,
backup plan.
and just in case. And we are rocking and rolling. Oh my god, they look so great. Rocksteady looks like it looks like he's plugged into Bane Venom. Because you see that wire
Mhm.
down by his hand, it looks like the wire that Bane has in the back of his head. And that's how we end the issue because Karai has a backup plan and we see the mutation of Bebop and Rocksteady. Oh my god. This is so amazing. Issue 25 is just so awesome in every single way that you can think.
It's kind of a scary thing to take on Bebop and Rocksteady. I mean, they were two characters from the animated series, and they were goofy, they were stupid, they were easily defeated by throwing garbage can lids and whipped cream pies at them. But it's just like IDW to take a character who was kind of weird and different and silly or whatever it might have been from some earlier incantation of the Turtles, and then to bring it and do it incredibly well and beautiful and amazing. So I think, I was right to be nervous bringing Rocksteady and Bebop into it, but hey, I happen to know it pays off. We happen to know it pays off, and
oh yeah.
So
it pays off in so many ways. And, folks, Bobby Curnow told us, and he's told everybody else, the certain reading order that you have to read to get these issues, story proper. And we've already met Casey's dad here with that purple dragon tattoo, and now here at the end of this issue we have Bebop and Rocksteady. By this time they had already released, and also during this we have everything with Karai. So by this time they had already released, I believe, Karai, Hun,
Rocksteady
and Bebop and Rocksteady and Bebop's one-shots, which we will be talking about a little later. So that's why I'm not trying to hit too much on these new characters, because, well, new-ish characters. Hun's not exactly... The revelation that Casey's dad is Hun is new, but, yeah, I mean, Bebop and Rocksteady, they look great. We get to chapter 26, or we get to issue 26, and I believe it's Leo and Tang Shen. I believe it's Tang Shen, or it's supposed to be Tang Shen, because this is a dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't real life. So we start off. Them talking back and forth. She says, "I love this garden, a delight to the eyes and to the nose, is it not? I suppose. Please tell me, my son, what troubles you. I'm sorry, mother, I don't mean to be gloomy, it's just that I feel so empty right now, and empty and lonely." And, even though Tang Shen in the real world is dead, I do love how they are able to work her in through flashbacks and through dream sequences. I think that is so great.
And I think I can now safely say, since I've read just about everything, it's not something they've ever done before. The Turtles have never even concerned themselves really with who their mother was. Now, yeah, they were baby turtles in most incarnations, so it didn't matter, but they didn't care who Hamato Yoshi's wife was in any of the other series. This is the first time where she's really been their mother, and they are just hitting that hard, and it's such a neat thing to see.
Yeah, it really, really is. She says, "Here, take this, a gift from your mother, a reminder of my eternal love for you. I know you are lonely and confused, child, but please remember you are not forgotten, and you are never alone." And we have City Fall Part 5, Spelled in the Clouds. I so want to put a Lion King joke right here. Because I don't care what anyone says, I am still of the belief when Simba flops down and the dust comes up, it does spell a certain word that Disney would never allow in their films.
I can see in that in the clouds of incense, in that panel where Leonardo's kind of waking up from his dream sequence with tears in his eyes, the incense in the background is done with fingerprint. That blackness was applied with fingers, and you could see the prints. I love seeing that kind of stuff. It's so neat.
Yeah, it's very
lets you know it was real.
Yeah, it's very, very awesome. So, which now this is a little weird for me. I'm trying to, because we go from Leo to the next scene, and it starts off. Wow. It starts off, "Next time you go that slow, we ain't gonna be so understanding. Forget 'em, man. We got the cash. Not for long." And, oh, that was Angel that threw the stick at them. Because I was like, wait, because I thought it was Raph throwing the sigh. Did you notice something in the background of this first panel?
Nothing important.
Santaluco has his own liquor store.
That's a Marcelo? Is that his first name? That's his Matthias.
Oh, okay. Well then, I thought it was one of the other artists or something.
Flippin'.
Yeah, you're right. It is Mateus, but I don't know. I thought it was a callback to somebody because I know some comics and some TV shows, cartoons will do that. They'll put like in Transformers Animated, there's a scene where they go by Wyatt's toy store, which is a put in for Derek J. Wyatt, the art director for the show. So I thought that was a little callback to something from Turtles.
Yeah, I know the volume 1, 2, and 4 of Turtles. Everybody in the background was named Chet. It's Chet's liquor store. That scientist they bump into for 2 panels is named Chet. It's like, and then they did that with making Fugitoid's character named Chet when he's in disguise as the human.
Mm-hmm.
Not a
Yeah.
surprise to see that stuff going on.
No. So we get Raph and Angel stopping these guys from robbing a liquor store. Let's see. So Raph assists her. He asks her, why aren't the other purple dragons with you? The dragons are dealing with some funny business right now. What you might call a family squabble. And Raph says that seems to be going around these days. I wasn't sure how they were going to use Angel, at all. And it's nice to see that she kind of becomes a part of the family like April and Casey have. We don't see that right away here, but we see them, we see her and Raph kind of teaming up and being on the same side. But as the series goes on, we see her becoming more involved with the Turtles and Splinter.
And I love what they do with her later, which we'll get to several episodes from now.
Yes, very much so. Raph's like, all right, cool. I got to get out of here. I got to make one more stop before I head home for dinner. And we see Woody, and he's got some pizzas.
Hey, Woody's back.
Woody's back. You got a license to drive that boat? Mikester! Wow, man, I didn't expect to see you. Sorry for bothering you, Woody, but I was hoping maybe you might be able to help me. My brother Leo's in some trouble, and... Wait, Meister, before you say anything else, there's something I just gotta get off my chest. When that Slash monster attacked me, I totally freaked, like my first brain bailed on me, then I bailed on you, bro. But since then, I've been doing a lot of thinking about things, and what I realize is, I've been a crappy friend, Mikester.
Aww.
The worst, and though I don't deserve it, I hope you can forgive me. Are you kidding? All that stuff with Slash was spooky. But that's old news. As far as I'm concerned, man, like my bro Raph always says, crap happens.
I don't think that's what Raph says.
Well...
I know what they're saying.
Yeah. So Woody and that's kind of, again, like you said earlier, Mikey is the heart of the team. And that letter that Woody sent him, that was just heartbreaking. I mean, that was like, wow. So he gives him a couple of pizzas, and Woody gives him a tip. He says, actually, I did hear something about the foot from some creepy dudes I delivered pizza to earlier. They were talking about a street war brewing. Crazy stuff like that. Seriously, what else they say? I honestly didn't stick around. Let's just say there are some places I don't like to deliver to these days. So we get back to Donnie and April. And they're at some garage, warehouse, something or other.
No, that's not April's antique store.
No.
Oh,
So
yeah. I
what?
remember where they're at now.
Oh. Oh yeah. Huh.
Oh, I forgot what this guy's name is.
Oh, I know where they are. They're at crap. Harold's
Yeah.
place. This old guy. He's so hilarious. Um oh man, so hilarious. He says, and you thought I'd help you out, right? Even though your personal problems have less than zero to do with me? Oh, yeah, something like that. How abstruse.
Don't you
I
need a
think you.
No, April, let it go.
Trust me, April, let it go. So he basically tells them anyone gets blown to smithereens, it's their own damn fault, not mine. You hear me? Loud and clear.
I'm looking in the background of that panel for things that are important for later episodes, but I don't see anything in there.
No, there's no suits. There's no giant suit, which will come up later. We then get back to the Savat, who are planning their move against the Foot Clan. These guys just... It reminds me of Raph talking to one of the guys earlier. You know, just when I thought you were done being stupid. I mean, these guys are just crazy. So the Foot, Leo and the Foot break in. The Foot, no shit, you think? Kill them all.
And Shredder's in here getting his hands dirty. Not wearing his Snuggie.
He isn't?
Nope.
Oh yeah, good for him. So they've infiltrated. Elopex and Karai rush in. I mean, this is a great battle scene. Santaluco's art on this battle scene was amazing.
You know, it's interesting, too. I know when we were interviewing Bobby Curnow, he says that Nickelodeon has a problem with the Turtles killing people, which they did without much thought in the Mirage run, but Shredder, Karai, both the Savat and the Foot, no qualms at all about having them kill people. Not a one. There are people getting cut to pieces in that page.
Yeah, that is very true.
And then Leo's back there kneeing somebody in the face. His swords are sheathed.
Yeah, Leo kneeing somebody in the face. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Now, I know that Laird had secured the rights from Nickelodeon to produce 12 or 13 Ninja Turtle comics a year set in the Mirage universe. I wonder if he has to go to them for any approval at all, or if he's completely free to do whatever he wants with them.
I'm not sure.
That'd be interesting.
Yep. So we get to Splinter, Old Hob, and Slash. And what Old Hob wants is he wants Splinter to steal some mutagen for him. Because as I alluded to earlier, Hobbs' whole storyline is he wants his own mutant army. So Splinter breaks into this place. And we see him go to get the mutagen. We then go back to Leo. And he's going to kill one of the Savat leaders. This is the same guy he was fighting earlier, too. Mm-hmm. So they get into a knockdown, drag-out fight. We then see, Leo basically kicks his ass. He's knocked out, and And Shredder tells him, stay your hand. We need him alive, basically. What do you think of this battle scene?
Beautifully drawn. And I'm always up for seeing Shredder get proactive. Especially this version of them, because he's so much more terrifying than 90s bumbling cartoon Shredder.
Yeah, he's more along the lines of 2003 Utrom Shredder.
Or 1990 movie Shredder. That dude's terrifying, too.
Yeah, that's very true.
But with the Savant leader knocked down on the ground, Shredder's, step back, Leo. We don't want to jerk with him. I wish I knew his name. The Savant leader picks up a gun, points at the Shredder. Shredder dodges the bullet and snicks off his whole hand and the weapon, saying that it's a coward's weapon. Bind his wounds and do not allow him to bleed out. That panel is brilliant.
That panel is brilliant, but that's also a George Lucas move.
It's I heard an interview where George Lucas talked about that. It's a neutering move. When you cut the hands off, it means something. You're taking away their ability to do things, to do anything. That it takes our hands. It's a symbolic gesture as much as anything else. And we know in this universe he's probably not going to come back with a robot hand later.
Well, no.
Darth Savant.
Oh my god. Oh, wow. So, after this, we get back to Splinter, who's trying to escape in the mutagen. He gets caught. He basically rushes the guy, throws the mutagen up in the air, rushes the guy, and catches the mutagen again. And he says, please forgive me. I did not wish for this to happen. And then we have Raph being all stalkerish. Casey goes, so are you going to mope in that window all night, or are you going to come in already? I thought you were sleeping. How did you know I was there? Turtle BO's pretty distinctive when it's the last time you had a shower, bro. Oh my god, that's hilarious. So, Raph and Casey have a few good laughs. They talk about stuff and kind of deal with stuff in their own way. We get back to Splinter and Old Hob. Gives him the mutagen. Damn, that was quick. I need to have you do favors for me more often. No, my errand is complete. There will be no more favors. Only you delivering on the promise you made me. So he asks, he says, I will be calling on you soon, Old Hob, and I firmly recommend you respond promptly when the time comes. And Old Hob asks Lash, did you finish? Yes, finished. Good. I guess we're done here then. No more pain. Nope, big guy. No more pain. And he blows up the entire place.
Blows up Stockgen.
Yeah. Stockgen is, the generator has been blown.
And it doesn't matter to Stockman right now because he's hanging out building the Technodrome somewhere.
Yep. So. So Karai and Alopex, and Karai is storming back here. Where is my grandfather? Karai, we did not expect... Answer my question, imbecile! So we see, Karai is looking for Shredder, as I said, and Shredder, she oversees and overhears Shredder talking to Leo. Look out there! All that you see will belong to us soon, very soon, and this is only the beginning. Yes, it is, and that's how that one ends. 26 was really, really interesting. It does a great job of continuing the story and moves it along at a very good pace. It's not too fast. and it's not too slow, which is a really, really good thing, because sometimes pacing on comic books, I find when I'm reading them, especially in trades more so than single issues, when I read trades and I read for the story, I don't see the transitions being like a hardship for me when I'm reading the actual words. Sometimes when I've done reviews for trades, I will say that, oh my god, they're transitioning too fast. Here, it's not like that at all. It really, really isn't. And it's, it is so, so great. I can only imagine, I've said this every single time since you did these in singles, and I'm doing them mostly in trade. It had to have sucked this month for City Fall Part 5, the single issue, to leave off at this final page. And then wait an entire month to see Part 6.
It's an exquisite pain. My wife, I've tried to get her to read comics. She's read the occasional trade paperback, but reading them single issues, she can't stand it. She's a big reader of books, and so when she reads her books, she reads them 200-300 pages at a time, and she'll devour a book in 3 or 4 days and get an incredibly deep, big experience. But comics, because she's such a fast reader, she can get through one of those in 5-10 minutes, and then it's like, oh crap, you mean I have to wait 30 days to find out what happens? Like, yeah, that's the point. It's like you get to feel that in your tummy. You get to get excited. You have 30 days to talk about it with your friends, and so I don't. It doesn't hurt so much. Well, yes, it does hurt a lot, but it's exquisite. Do I wish I could snap my fingers and have everything IDW will ever publish Turtles in my hand where I can tear through it in 3 or 4 days? Yep. But this is fun. This is okay. I don't mind.
Yeah, these 2 issues alone, it's like, like for me reading it in trade, because City Fall is in 2 trade paperbacks. It's one of those things where from issue 24, which was the last issue in the first part of the Volume 1 trade, or the Volume 6 trade, from 24 to 25, it's like, even though it's been a while since I read Volume 1 and since we released the Volume 1 episode, it's like no time has really passed for me. Yes, in the beginning, in issue 25, or in issue 21, when they started out with, Splinter being the assassin, that was a little confusing, but where they left 24 off to here, it's like, hey, it's like, and this week on the Turtles cartoon, it's just one of those things where it's such a nice flow, and I love how they're flowing between the trades, and it makes it so much for easier reading. We get to City Fall Part 6, and I like this placement, but I don't know what building would have this on the side of it. I get what they're going for. I'm not really complaining about it, but like, it just, these look like billboards, and I don't know what building would have that on the side of it as a billboard.
I don't know, New York gets pretty wacky.
That's true. So we got Woody and Mikey delivering to the place that he doesn't normally deliver to.
Why is Mikey dressed up like a chef?
He's the pizza guy. What do you want him to do? Do you want him to, I don't know. But it is hilarious. He reminds me, dressed up. Oh my god! Imagine if Mikey was Swedish. Mikey is the Swedish chef in the new Muppets movie. That's the first thing that I thought of. Pizza? We didn't order no pizza. Wait, what the hell are you supposed to be? Oh, this is just a costume, man. Mikey's Turtle Pizza, where you always get a shell of a good deal. Mikey's Turtle Pizza. Never heard of it. Um, he says, don't matter, pizza's pizza, and seeing as we got no time to stop for chow before that big foot meeting tonight, that works out perfectly, especially since this chump's gonna give it to us on the house. Ain't that right, Turtle Boy? On the house, how about on the face? Wham!
And I like the right hand coming under the shoulder to deflect the gun. That's a beautiful move. I like that.
Yeah.
That's somebody who knows martial arts drawing that panel, or at least being familiar with it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that is, normally Mikey the bumbler, Mikey the comedy relief normally would not do that kind of thing, but because Mikey is written so smartly here, he is doing everything that a Ninja Turtle should be doing. So, you dude's got a big meeting to go to, huh? How's the guy score an invite? So we get back to the Purple Dragons now, where Hun and Angel are arguing back and forth.
They haven't explained how come Casey's dad got so gigantically built yet, because that happened in the one shot, correct?
That happened in Hun.
Okay, so I didn't catch the readers of just skipping those one shots will say, man, Casey's dad was built.
Yeah. Yeah, because the last time we saw him in issue 25, I think?
Yeah, just last...
issue 25, 26. Yeah, he wasn't this ripped. At all. So he and Angel have words, and she's standing up to him, and she says maybe because I'm the only one who's not afraid to. And he's like, okay, you took your best shot, my turn. And we see someone from the distance stop. And who is this supposed to be? Is this just supposed to be some masked, like, I know this isn't Shredder.
No, it's a foot messenger. Nobody in particular, I think.
Okay. So he gives the message to Han. He says, attendance is mandatory. Disregarding this invitation is tantamount to death. You either serve the foot or you die. So, yeah, he's really taken on all comers. The Shredder is really, really working this stuff out. And
who I'm just going to call the Hun from now on. He's taken charge of the dragons and just decides immediately, we're going to go to this meeting and throw our weight behind the Shredder.
Yep, pretty much.
And we get to kind of see the well, it's not really the origin of the purple dragons being attached rather to the Foot Clan, but because they've been in this comic series, they've been around before. Apparently, he was the leader of them a long time ago, but interesting to see how that gets attached. Hey, there's a punk in the background wearing Bebop glasses and a mohawk, but we know that's not Bebop anymore. I don't think that ever was.
Well, I'm trying to think if that's...
Because they've already been mutated by this point.
Let me go back a page and look, because I'm not sure. Yeah, you're right. That's most definitely not Bebop at all. So we turn the page and we get back to the lair, or the church or whatever they're calling their new home now. Um,
The railing to down the stairs is still mangled from when Slash came through, and they're still just using it.
Yep. So we get Leo, or not Leo, I'm sorry, Donnie, Raph, and Mikey, and Splinter and April.
It looks like they've brought equipment from that scientist Harold. Thank you, Harold's lab. The anti-gravity gauntlets.
Yeah.
Going to use them to. Oh, and yeah, Mikey comes back in and says, "Hey, I found out where this meeting is going on. This is what we got to crash to get Leo back."
Yep. Once again, the background art, the difference between the different scenes is just amazing. The art in itself is just so good. I mean, so good. I still kind of don't like the egg-shaped heads for the turtles.
Yeah, that really bothered me on 25.
It's gonna bother me more when we get to Northampton, but for now, it's just kind of like,
Yeah, both Santaluco and Ross Campbell does their turtles with that. I was looking at Don in 25, and what it looks like he's trying to do, or the artist is trying to do with the big forehead like that, is they're giving them the human proportions. When you draw a human, you draw the oval, and then you put the eye line midway down the face. The tendency is to put the eyes near the top of the head, but we humans have a giant forehead that's usually covered by hair. And, if I take my little fingers and measure Donatello's head, those eyes are in the middle. Yeah, same thing with Mikey. So they're trying to give him human proportions, but they're turtles. It's okay if they look like turtles. Oh well.
The funny thing is, and I know I'm probably going to get hate on this, but I would rather have the egg-shaped comic versions of the turtles here in IDW than the noses in the new movie.
The noses and lips, wrong decision, I think. And I hate coming down on both Santaluco and Ross Campbell because they're both A, better than me, and B, they have jobs drawing pictures of turtles where I just do it for fun and free most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I am just so loving this story. I mean, this story is so great. So we get to Leo. He is sleeping with his. Wasn't it Raph that had a little plant? I'm trying to think. Like, I remember someone had a binky at some point in history. I don't remember who it was.
Raph in the animated series has the stuffed animal with missing an eye.
That's what it is. Because I keep looking at that flower and thinking, oh, that's Leo's binky.
Well, I thought that was a lotus that his mom was holding, but that if it's in a flower pot like that, it's a lily. Yeah. So he's got his mom's lily.
Somehow.
Well, I think he probably took it out of Shredder's garden.
Oh, probably. So we get Leonardo dreaming. Shredder shows up. He says, "Look at those who will die with you this day, executed by the very clan you chose to dishonor with your base treachery."
And we're flashing back to Shredder killing Hamato Yoshi's children.
Mm-hmm.
Only Leonardo's in place of Hamato Yoshi.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Well, he's the leader of those three because of how he's backstabbed them or stabbed them in the back by going to the Shredder's side. Mm-hmm. The people he cares about are going to die. The people who he's in charge of being responsible for are going to die. It's a message from his mom.
Yep. And the mustard, I don't want to say piss because it's not piss, but the mustard yellow background along with the black between Leo's black and the black. Like this Shredder here, this I don't think it's not monochrome. It's
Sepia tone.
yeah, the sepia tone Shredder. That's the Shredder that I want in current day.
That's the Shredder. When I draw Shredder, he looks more like this than regular Shredder.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it very much is. So we get Leo waking up, no bandana on, all blue background with blue letterings. Mother! So you can kind of see that he is kind of coming out of it a little bit. And so Karai is there. I heard you cry. Do your new duties haunt you in your dreams? And he says, I don't remember inviting you here, Karai. That's because you did not. When I heard your shout, I thought you might be in danger, Chunin. Yeah, I'll bet. We then go back to April, the Turtles, Splinter, and Old Hob, and they are setting up for this battle. Casey texts April, Case, helping Turtles find Leo. Be with you soon. XOXO. Which is really nice. I love her line here, though, at the end, right before the texting panel. April O'Neil, professional getaway driver. Add that to the long list of job descriptions she has.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day with April being so important in this series and news reporter in that series and scientist in that series. In the Mirage thing, she's introduced as Baxter Stockman's intern, a lackey in his business, just company. But scientist, respectable job. And then for, like, after that, the rest of that series, she's like t-shirt, sweatpants, tank top, never has a job. And her and Casey, as they become a couple, are just nothing but kind of grubby rednecks. And they're content. You know, they keep together jobs enough to make rent, work in the antique store, but I was like, you know, come on, let's give April and Casey a real job that we can look up to. But no, they're content. They're happy. They're regular people.
Yeah. I mean, we don't need, like, in this series, we don't need April, running around with a microphone and a camera crew. We don't need that.
We don't need that in any incarnation, but we're going to see what that is in a couple of days.
Well, I mean, I do like April as the, God. Jeez, Raph, what were you thinking? I don't know, couple of throw pillows, a TV news reporter. I mean, I like it sometimes when she is the Channel 6 or Channel 5 or Channel whatever they decide to use. I do like that when she's that reporter, but I'm loving this series that she started at StockGen and she's kind of like in the middle right now of where she's supposed to be or where she's going to end up and what she's going to end up doing. I don't know if Eastman, Kurnow, and Waltz are going to do reporter April at all, but I mean, it's refreshing not to just have that, because as much as I love the 87 series for what it is, week after week after week of, we got to go save the reporter lady. After the 5th season, it kind of gets old a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, and back in the day, the little kids didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't know what I wasn't getting back then.
Yep. So we have Kitsune and Alopex having tea together. Interesting. She says, Kitsune says to Alopex, know this, Alopex, we foxes must be both sly and cautious, for our treachery lurks around every corner. We must always know when to watch and when to act.
What's she trying to tell her?
I don't know.
And who she care more about? This mutant fox who she can relate to, or Shredder who she can get something from that we don't know what that is yet? I was interested by this scene.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. So we go back to the hospital, and we see out of the corner here, yo, Jones, April, what the heck are you up to now? And Angel shows up. Look what I found. Where'd you find that thing? Near the Strawberry, where you and Raph got jumped. Been meaning to bring it out to you, but things have been kind of crazy. So she brings him back his hockey mask. So he's kind of whole again now that he has the mask. I mean, he's still hurting from his injuries, but she tells him about his dad, and tells him about Hun, and he's like, "Okay, come on, let's go." Casey Jones is gonna kick ass. So let's see. We get to Donnie and Raph. Where's Mikey? Oh, there he is. There he is. He's just not in that middle panel. We get to Donnie, Raph, Mikey, Splinter, Old Hob, and Slash. And they are gearing up to crash the Foot Clan party.
This is getting exciting.
Yeah, this is getting very, very exciting because Shredder is going to kill the Savate
in front of all of these other thugs of New York.
Yep. And we see that Leo is hearing voices again. She says, "See that this is no place for you. The time has come to save Leonardo. We can wait no longer," says Splinter. And Old Hob, bless his evil heart, he is not subtle at all.
As he fires his rocket launcher outside the theater to blow up one of the cars.
Mm-hmm. He is just not subtle at all, which is a good thing in some cases. And Shredder's like, "So we have uninvited guests. Destroy them or meet Victor's same fate. It appears that a further demonstration of my power is in order." And Leonardo says aloud, "Mother? Leonardo, what possesses you?"
Karai says, "Whenever death appears, your precious tuning disappears."
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, it does.
Yep. So Splinter and the Turtles all go gung-ho into it. Hun is basically holding them back. He's actually fighting Slash, which is interesting. And then Casey and Angel show up.
Massive internal bleeding, no doubt.
Yeah, you think?
But he recognizes the Hun as his dad.
Mm-hmm. Leonardo, you fool, kill them. Oh, crud. So they try to get Leo to stop it. I mean, this design of Leo's as Shredder's tune-in is amazing. Like, I wasn't sure what to think of this at first.
I'd like that as a toy. I think Kurnow and the IDW folks really need to talk to Playmates and Nickelodeon about getting some of the figures done, maybe one wave, and maybe pack in a small comic. I think that would do wonders for them.
So would.
I'm surprised Nickelodeon doesn't cross-pollinate like that. That there aren't ads for the cartoon in the comic, and there aren't comic ads in the toys, or it seems like you could really help bring in everybody to your property.
Well, IDW has this thing, and you know this. They put all their ads at the back of the book. I mean, IDW is not DC and Marvel where they feel like they need to whore themselves out to any and all advert. I mean, this is a topic for a completely other episode, but when I pick up DC and Marvel books, there's ads for kids stuff, there's ads for other comics, there's There's ads for movies. There's ads for crappy TV shows. There's ads for everything. Thankfully, IDW does not do that in their single issues.
That's also why we pay $4 a book instead of $3 or $4 at $2.50, $3.
Yeah, true.
Interesting. I'd rather pay $4 and get a short section of ads in the back. Certainly.
Yeah. That's the good thing. So, Leo, Donnie is going to fight the Shredder. Shredder says, "You will die for this insolence," and Donnie just gets the gauntlet and pushes the gauntlet on Shredder. It's like, why didn't we think of that in the movies? So Donnie's like, "We don't want to hurt you." Well, I want to hurt you. And Raph basically comes in, and this is where we kind of get the whole Leo-Raph rivalry here a little bit. So we then go to Shredder again, and we see him with Alopex. Where they're escaping, where the devil is Karai? I am here, grandfather. Okay, this is a problem. And tonight belongs to the foot. Yeah, what she said.
You can hear the snort as Rocksteady and Bebop appear in the hole in the side of the theater, wielding a chainsaw and a sledgehammer. A very small-looking sledgehammer compared to how gigantic Rocksteady is. Oh, man.
They look amazing. And all as I can think of, with him holding that damn sledgehammer, all I can think of is that old Peter Gabriel song.
Sledgehammer.
Yep.
I heard an interview as I switch comics here from one issue to the next. Heard an interview, Rocksteady and Bebop, they're going to, if this Ninja Turtles movie does well, they're going to try to get them into the second movie. I hope they don't do to Rocksteady and Bebop what they did to the Turtles. There's a couple of really good pieces of art out there of Rocksteady and Bebop that look incredible. Like, yes, a movie version. If the movie version looks like that, done. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just so cannot wait until they premiere in the cartoon.
Do we know they're coming?
Oh yeah, they're coming. We've kind of already got a sneak peek of who is going to become Bebop, and it is really, really cool. We haven't seen. I haven't noticed any Rocksteady stuff yet, but I've seen who might become Bebop, and I just so cannot wait to see what they do with them in the cartoon series.
In my humble opinion, with Rocksteady and Bebop, you can't do what they've done to somebody like the Baxter Fly mutation, who's legitimately terrifying. And in fact, I don't even think you can take them as far as they took Casey Jones. I think you've kind of got to keep, like the Turtles and like Shredder and like Splinter, you've got to keep them mostly recognizable. And I think they took Razor too far. But I'll be excited. I'll tune into that episode, certainly.
The way that I see, and this is kind of off the comic a little bit, but the way that I see Dog Pound becoming Razor, yes, Razor is a little dark, and he's not as, I guess, puppy-like, kind of like the Razor from the second movie.
Babies! They're babies!
Babies! Mama? No, Master! But what they've done with... again, I assume this guy is going to become Bebop, but he has technology in the episode that he appeared in that allows him to go super fast and through everything. So he's kind of like a combination of like what would happen. Oh God, I don't want to say this, and I know people are gonna cringe at me when it's kind of like, what if Sue Storm and Johnny Storm were not brother and sister? They got married and had a child. It's like combining the invisibility and the speed power all at the same. No, actually, I take that back. So we don't have to go that creepy. What if Sue Storm, and either Barry Allen or Wally West had a child? But yeah, that's the end of 27, where she shows up with Bebop and Rocksteady. The opening of issue 28, chapter 4 in the trade, we have the turtles just being demolished, and Bebop's like, "Oh, check them out, Rocksteady. They look so sad."
And those voices too. I can hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah, almost like these chumps ain't too happy to see us, huh, Bebop? Yeah, I can so hear crap, Cam Clark and Barry Gordon in my head. Oh my god, so amazing. So we get back to Angel, Casey, and Hun. That ain't me to greet your old man pointing that bat at me like you want to bust my skull open. I ain't gonna lie to you, Casey. That hurts. Shut up, Dad. I don't want to hear it. I put up with your crap for years. Hurt? You don't even know what hurt means. So it's basically Casey versus his dad, and he pretty much hits a grand slam right to Hun's chin. And what I love about this panel here on this other side of the page where we see Casey swinging the bat, you don't actually you see the aftermath of Casey's swing. You don't see him actually swing and do contact. That's awesome. That you just see the after effects. And so we've got that. We go back to the Turtles, Shredder, Karai, Bebop, and Rocksteady. And Shredder's like, Karai, who? Mutants, grandfather, hybrids of my making, culled from within our ranks and designed to serve the Foot loyally. Yo, Rock, these dudes got hard candy shells. Let's crack them open and see what kind of goodies are inside. Ew. Ew, sounds so wrong. So let's see.
We're watching how many pages? 1, 2, 3 pages of Bebop and Rocksteady completely thrashing the turtles.
Yeah. And all I can think of is at this bottom panel here. Ha! He swings, he misses. No way, totally a foul tip. All I can think of is Cameron Fry and Ferris Bueller. Swing, bada bada bada, swing, bada bada. Yeah, I mean, they are just decimating the turtles. Like, they have no chance against these guys at the moment.
It appears they have no pain, no worries about taking any kind of hits. They're just kind of marching through juggernauts. They're hard characters to deal with when you're pulling from the series where they can be defeated with sausage, nunchucks, and a pizza thrown in their face. But here they're just marching through everything. And not because they're skilled, but because they don't have anything to worry about. Just fun takes on them.
Yeah.
Visceral take.
This issue, actually, I had to go back and look at a certain other issue because I so totally did. I understand that Bebop and Rocksteady came up from the Foot Clan's ranks, but I so totally did not remember this. Ain't that the turtle dork we rumbled with before, Bobster? Yeah, that's him from that time with Alopex. See Raphael miniseries. I so totally did not remember that.
Yeah, the two thugs that looked like Bebop and Rocksteady, and when I read that and saw the purple glasses and the mohawk and the helmet, I didn't think that they were actually going to do Bebop and Rocksteady. I thought that was a nod. Like, hey, there are those two guys. You'll recognize them, ha ha ha. But no, they ended up actually using them and turning them into it. So, surprised and pleased. Worried. I mean, when I knew they were coming, I didn't know what they were going to do with them, but...
Yeah. So April shows up with this invisible shield. Donnie's like, April, what the heck are you doing? I thought maybe you could use some help. Beta testing Harold's gear seems to work great, huh? Yeah, it does. Donnie's just
She
dumbfounded
pulled
and
the wall
rumstruck.
down on Bebop and
Yep.
Rocksteady, taking them out of the equation temporarily, at least.
Yep. And Shredder is talking to Leo. Um, recover your wits, damn you! He basically smacks him right in the face. Wow. Um, so we get, Shredder smacks Leo, and out of the corner here we get, you do not touch my son, devil, ever! So this is what it's come to, huh? And we get back to Casey and Hun, and Hun basically he just crushes Casey. And then Angel comes in, and of course he turns on her, and basically, I cannot believe he would, I know Hun's a bad guy in all this, but wow, he is just he he's basically pulling an Undertaker or a Brock Lesnar, where they just stand on someone's face or chest or something, and then they step off and walk away out of the ring. It's like, oh my god. Ah, how bright this book is amazing now. I mentioned earlier with the previous issues we've talked about today how I like the contrast between the light and the dark. This is light and dark all at the same time, and it is amazing.
Yeah, these colors, we haven't seen these colors in a while. It's kind of making, we're definitely sure this is the climax to the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. Um, so we get to Splinter and Shredder having a knockdown drag-out fight, and Leo's like, Master Shredder, not so fast, bro. Me and you gotta chew the fat first. And it's Raph and Leo again. While Bebop and Rocksteady are helping Karai, April is still invisible. And I love this panel with the two of them, and it's basically the Shredder Gauntlet thing here. You know nothing about me. Nah, actually, I know a lot. But just it doesn't seem like either one of them is angry or snarky by the word balloons, but you can tell they are by their faces. But I don't know. I didn't hear a lot of snark in Raph's voice when he said that.
No, I think he's pretty well in control. He's at this point he's
Yeah.
learned and is remembering that if he loses his cool, that's when bad things happen, and
Yeah.
he's keeping it together. And I think it shows in his in the fighting style here. He's not bruising it. He's using the martial arts and being gentle with his attacks. It's not, smashing people, smashing Leo here in this case to settle the point.
Yeah, exactly.
He's being dainty enough that he can have this conversation with them.
Yeah. I love the image of the sign in the ground. That's awesome. That is so cool. We get to Shredder and Splinter. Look, Yoshi, watches your momentary advantage quickly slips away and becomes my ultimate triumph. We were a clan of brothers once. I, your clan leader, but you defied my will and betrayed my trust, and in doing so dishonored the Foot. The Foot was your family, Yoshi, before Tangshin and before these abominations you call your children. And I will never forgive you for forsaking us.
And he just took Splinter's ability to be a player in these fights away as he smashes his foot. Shredder, rather, smashes Splinter's foot, and probably why he'll be on a cane for the remainder of the IDW series.
Yeah. But then we get a reprieve here because Alopex jumps in. And she is like, how dare you speak of family? And Karai basically dispatches her. And somehow Leo is now out of his trance as Shredder's Chunin, and but I thought you were dead. They're basically reuniting, but also getting the hell out of here, which, in all honesty, is a damn good thing that they're doing it. And we get to Slash. Time to go. I got Leo. Come on, April. About stinking time. Me and Slash had this thing cleaned up out here before, way before now. Just remove us from this place, old hub, quickly. Yeah, keep your undies on. Not so fast, weebs. We ain't done yet. I so can hear Barry and... Oh my god. I can so hear Barry and Cam in my head when Bebop and Rocksteady speak. So Hob guns it. They get away.
I think they broke my spleen.
We still gonna get a paycheck? Oh my god, it's so funny. So Shredder brings before him these three gang leaders. Is one of them Hun?
Nope.
Oh, okay. My mistake then.
These look like mob bosses that are paying
Yeah,
Shredder a tribute.
I know because when we get to the Hun micro, he does put on a suit at one point in the micro. So I thought that might have been Hun on the far right there. So we get to Karai's punishment, which really isn't a punishment. She says, Master, there are no signs of the turtles or Alopex. We will continue to silence. You have created mutants without my knowledge. You have acted independently of my will and disobeyed my authority. This gross insubordination is punishable by death. Do you deny it? I do not, but all I did in the name of the Foot. Everything I do to honor the clan. I accept my fate. Very well, rise, Chunin. So Karai is now his Chunin. And we see Kitsune on the side here. She's up to something. I don't know what she's up to, but she's up to something.
Yeah, there was a point where she was serving the Utrom in the Torii Gate, but I don't know. She hasn't had a chance to connect with him for, at this point, several hundred years. I don't know what she's thinking.
I don't know either, honestly, but I'm loving it. I mean,
it's nice not knowing everything. I'd rather be surprised. I can't complain.
Yeah. So the final page is them trying to get Casey and Leo back to health, get him in the van, and Leo's like, "Don't touch me." So we get Leo. The entire world lies before us, and there is nowhere that is safe for our enemies to hide. And we get the most significant point of the entire story, at least for me, for part of this, is Leo gives Slash his black bandana. So now Slash is the fifth turtle, unlike some other 90s stuff that happened. And next up, we go to Northampton. That'll be in the next episode of the Pull Bag. We still have to do the one-shots here. The art gallery... we have the Leo page, the Leo cover. We have Mikey and Donnie. I love the Mikey and Donnie City Fall cover. Mm-hmm. That is so awesome.
I accidentally bought two of that issue. I don't know how that happened.
We have Hun as a City Fall cover, which is really cool as well. And then we have, which is so an Eastman cover, I believe it's Leo as the Chunin. I believe it's for issue 25. I could be wrong. We have Shredder and Leo attacking. Again, art by Eastman. Also, we've got the opposite page here is Mikey swinging with pizzas in his hand. Also by Eastman. And then I've got this beautiful thing here. I assume this is Eastman art. It's Shredder versus the Turtles versus Bebop and Rocksteady. It's all in red and orange, and it is just it's a full page, 2-page spread.
I see it's the cover B for 28.
Yeah, I mean, it is just awesome. And then we get Mark Buckingham with his. This actually reminds me of the Ripped Apparel shirt that I bought for Turtles. The RippedApparel.com had a Turtles shirt where it's the 4 Turtles inside a silhouette of Shredder, and then inside the silhouette of Shredder is New York City. It's simply awesome. There's also the next one is by Kenneth Lowe and colors by Ian Herring of Shredder, Hun, and the Turtles. And then the final one is Bebop and Rocksteady, done by Nick Pitara and colors by Megan Wilson. That looks awesome. Overall, City Fall, I can't believe it's over. Like, it didn't seem like it was going to be... Like, it went by so fast. I mean, it was just one of those things where you blink and you're going to miss everything, but it was such a good story arc. It has stuff that I never expected would happen. Like, I didn't expect Bebop and Rocksteady to show up in it, even though I knew from reading the one shot that they do show up. I'm so happy for that. I love that they did that. I think that's amazing.
It's the whole City Fall thing it's easy for me to get confused. I think with IDW is following the Mirage continuity. They're kind of running parallel to it with their own take. And there's an initial battle with Shredder, which happens in episode 1 of the Mirage, and then some stuff happens. They go to space, like they did in this, and then they come back, and then there's a second battle with the Shredder, and then they go to Northampton. But this City Fall feels a lot like the Mirage episode or issues. I want to say 50 through 70, but I think it's earlier than that. Either way, there's City at War, where the Foot Clan are involved and a couple other groups, and this feels more like that to me. It's bigger than just the second battle with Shredder. But it's still neat. I wonder if they're going to continue that running parallel with the Mirage continuity. They don't have to, for me to be happy, but it's interesting that they've done that for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the villains.
Say your prayers, Turtles.
I have served the Shredder most of my life. I have been his most loyal soldier. But lately, I have failed him. Too many things have gone wrong on my watch.
I can create it. More mutagen, a few chemicals, and some...
Stop it!
Oops, that should be okay. Master Shredder,
Is the mutagen ready?
prepare to your specification. The serpent DNA is ready.
No, you wouldn't!
Make sure she is secure.
You are more ruthless than I thought. Mutating your own cub.
I have no intention of mutating her. She is bait. When the Turtles attempt to rescue her, I will drop them into the mutagen. This will mutate them into mindless serpents. I want Splinter to witness his own pupils become one of the Rat's deadliest predators. Then, when his spirit is broken, I will shatter his body.
All right, folks, up next we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Micro Series Villains Part 2. And this has Karai, Hun, Bebop and Rocksteady,
Yay.
and the Shredder. As much as I complain about the main trades, about not doing the actual numbering of the issues in the trades, these I actually like, because these are meant to be single, character-driven stories. And what I love about these so much is they basically, you open the trade and you get, you open that first page, you get a basic table of contents, and you get 4 chapters, but it sits here and tells you, and they do this with the regular trades. I mean, they do it, with the various stuff. But what I love is, because they have so many different people on these, I'm actually gonna go ahead and read off the creators now, instead of having to flip back for each chapter we do. We got 4 chapters here today, like I said. We got Karai. It is written by Eric Burnham. Artwork is by Corey Smith. Colors by Ian Herring, and the lettering is done by Sean Lee. Actually, the lettering is done by Sean Lee on all 4, so there's that. Hun was written by Mike Costa and Ben Epstein. Artwork was done by Mike Henderson. Colors by Ian Herring. Bebop and Rocksteady was written by Ben Bates and Dustin Weaver. Yay, Ben Bates is back. Art and colors by Ben Bates, and Shredder was done by Dan Duncan and Paul Allor. I assume that's how you say his name. And the art was done by Duncan. Colors by Ian Herring, and letters by Sean Lee. I know you've mentioned this before, Joe, where you said you like when they bring back previous people that have worked on the stuff.
Yeah, Dan Duncan coming back again.
Yep, and Ben Bates too.
I forgot what he did. He was in the... Yeah, that was the second story arc after Dan Duncan. I figure these guys are IDW house artists, and it's a matter of, hey, do you want to come do issue 22 through 28? Yeah, sure, all right. And so they're constantly calling on them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah. I assume that's how it is with all comic companies. Every comic company has their creative teams. And usually, sometimes with the big 2, they go back, sometimes somebody will leave DC to go to Marvel or vice versa and whatever else. But, I don't normally see people from DC or Marvel doing... Okay, Gail Simone does Tomb Raider for Dark Horse, and she did a couple of other things for other people, but the core DC and Marvel guys, I don't see a lot of them on other stuff other than those properties.
Yeah, or the Vertigo adult imprint of their home business. I mean, I remember Bagley, the Ultimate Spider-Man guy, who was on that book for God knows how many issues. Then he left and went and did Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Trinity, and then now he's back with Marvel. That's what I'm looking at these micro series books and seeing all these creative teams coming to it. Now that they're kind of out of characters to do with micro series, I really want them to revive the Tales of the Ninja Turtles, Tales of the TMNT imprint, and get some weird guys from other companies to come in and do 1-issue Ninja Turtles, or maybe a 2 or 3 issue story arc, and put it under the Tales imprint, something that's out of continuity. But I would love to see Brian Bendis' Ninja Turtles. I would love to see Mark Waid's Ninja Turtles. Just get them in there for 1 issue, let them play, and then without having to. But I think Nickelodeon might have problems with that.
I don't know. I think the thing with this one is, with these micro series, yes, sure, we have kind of run out of characters after this, but I'm sure they're going to be introducing new characters. I'm
excited for the Nobody single issue.
Well, I would say that in the current storyline that's going on, we just a few months ago we had issue 34 come out, and issue 34 No, issue 34 or 35. Which one was it? One of the newer issues had the debut of Metalhead. I would love to see a Metalhead single story. If they ever bring in Leatherhead.
Oh yeah, Leatherhead will get a one shot.
Do that.
He's got a huge backstory.
Even though they introduced the Rat King in issue 36, I'm sure they could do a Rat King story. Like how the Rat King became the Rat King, considering he is who he is and who he's related to, which I'm not going to spoil for the readers in case you haven't read that yet, because we'll be getting to that eventually here.
I would really like them to let them go get Jim Lawson to do that, since he created Rat King for Mirage back in the day. I don't think they would. I know he's done some covers, but he'd do it in a heartbeat if they asked him.
Oh, I'm sure. So we start with Karai. The main cover that I have in the trade is her standing on a rooftop in some Foot Clan ninja pose. The art is done by Tyler Walpole. I like the cover. It's pretty cool. I mean, you get a sense of who she is. She has a smaller version of the Shredder Snuggie around her neck, and it's funny. I don't mind it around her. I mind it around him because his is so much larger and it takes up half his outfit.
This is apparently IDW Foot Clan signature thing. To let I don't know. It's all right. I ignore it.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I've to grow. I've grown accustomed to it, I suppose.
So we start with Karai, and it's always interesting to me where they put the title of the story. They put this right on I believe it's a roof. No, is it a roof? Yeah, it's a rooftop. Yeah, it's a rooftop. That's interesting where they stuck the title for her story. And we are at the Foot Clan's training facility in Westchester County, New York. Hey! Shouldn't they be going to visit a school of mutants?
I'm going to go look up where that is on Google Maps.
So they are training. The sensei says, and remember, you must move as one, a simple thing, but it will help you learn precision. And precision is a valuable asset. And the sensei says, I wish you wouldn't do that to my students. It serves a purpose. I now know who is able to steel themselves against surprise. Really? I thought you did it because it amused you. So Karai and this sensei have a history, obviously.
It's a martial arts movie thing. How there's the old sensei and then the young students. We're all led to believe that Karai is one of the top martial artists in the books, but then there's this 70-year-old sensei who's training new foot soldier ninjas, and like, is he not better than her after 70 years, really? Or is she just that gifted? Just kind of movie magic that you can't really discuss before it starts looking weird.
And on this first page where we see the two of them before we go to the next page, when it shows the close-up of him, all I can think of is, throw the bum out.
Throw the bum out.
It's the only thing I can think of. So this continues. He tells the students to continue, and he and Karai talk about how the Foot Clan is basically she's trying to find her way and trying to restore the Foot to their former glory. I love the art. Earlier when we were talking about City Fall Part 2, I mentioned how I like the contrast between the light and the dark. All of this, for the most of it, because it's an indoor-outdoor kind of thing, it's all very light. There's not really a lot of dark, and I'm sure at some point in this, in one of these stories, the art will get darker. But I like how the backgrounds, just kind of not really blend in, but they're easy on the eyes, I guess you could say. And it's one of those things that just really, really surprised me as far as, because I wasn't sure what to expect with these. I really wasn't.
They seem to desaturate the colors when they go into the flashbacks. Karai's talking to the sensei about her misgivings and how she's not exactly happy with her position and how she was the one who the Foot Clan existed as a business corporate thing, and she saw that as a kind of a bad thing and wanted to make it as powerful and as evil, I guess, maybe as it was in its past. And when they go back to discuss that, it's all in this kind of sepia tone, no popping colors.
And I love it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love it. It's so great. So, and it's interesting because I think where IDW really shined with this one shot for her, up until now, we haven't been able to hear a lot from, like, she talks back to Shredder every now and then, but she usually doesn't. I mean, we've heard her talk to the Turtles and talk to April and all this and all that in the previous issues and stuff in the main part of the ongoing, but like to actually hear her internal monologue, I absolutely love that. That's amazing to get her perspective on all this. So let's see. She says, "I hated when my mother treated me like an idiot, but at least she hadn't sent me to my room. I enjoyed the rare times I was allowed to visit the library. There was so much to look through, and I was lucky I would stumble upon something truly exceptional." And this is where she finds the Ashi no Himitsu. How did this book get into a library?
I'm assuming it followed the Foot Clan with them. And
Right.
there are more than one of them, and this is a relatively incomplete one. Because I know that they had to find more pages of it to do more things, to bring back Kitsune.
Right. See, I thought it was just one book. And I'm like, okay, so if this is a copy of a copy or whatever, I'm like, oh, okay. But at the same time, I'm thinking, why don't the Foot have their own personal presidential library?
Well, I think that's where she's at, is essentially where all the books are kept.
Yeah. She talks about how the book was amazing and contained all of the history of the Foot Clan, of my family, and better. It contained detailed instruction in our methods as well. So she trains when she can. She says, and so it began. During the day, I was the proper girl that my mother wanted me to be, and at night I studied the Ashino Himitsu, hoping to become what my father could not. Now, this is something that I've brought up multiple times on these Back Issue Classics episodes, is how is Shredder, aka Takeshi, her grandfather? And it's one of those things where it really does a good job of really explaining it here, I thought.
Well, she's a descendant.
Yeah.
So he is her great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah. So she goes on to talk about how it was, that she, for years that she lived like this, being the proper girl during the day and at night, studying the moves. And she says she relished each test of her growing skill, and that it was the only time she felt alive, but it was exhausting. That image of her on the bed, wow. Just, wow. That's...
Is that your blood on your sleeve? Some of it.
Yeah, exactly. So we get to the next page, and she says, even in my dreams, there is little chance to rest, because in her dreams, she is seeing... I assume at this point it's Takeshi. It's not...
Well, the spirit inside him is Takeshi, but he's...
Okay.
At this point, he's been born
Saki.
as Orokosaki.
Okay, yeah.
Which is interesting. I don't know how much of his previous life he remembers of Takeshi, Tetsuo. But at some point you think maybe he'd adopt that name again, but no, because it's Orokosaki. But interesting to consider that. I think from that Takeshi life, all that's still with him is the nature of who he was. It's not that person or that person's memories anymore. That the only memories he has are of Orokosaki, his childhood, growing up, becoming a part of the Foot Clan, but in his heart, he's power hungry and manipulative and conniving and intelligent, and I think that's the only part that's left of Takeshi.
Right. So in this dream, she meets Saki. They talk. He tells her of how to resurrect and correct. Well, she says that she has to correct her father's mistake first, and that she must do it on her own. So he basically says that he's waited for centuries. A few years more isn't gonna really, make a difference. And he says, "Remember your promises to me and to yourself." And she wants to retake the Foot Clan. She wants to take it back, and she goes off to college, and spends the next few years, gathering her resources. And again, I mean, just from the opening of this in the sepia tone to the dream sequence to be more blue sepia tone, and now we get to college and fighting and rebuilding the Foot. I mean, the colors are just so amazing in this. So let's see. We see we see her father.
That's not her father.
It's not?
Nope. This is the manipulative businessman who's kind of manipulating her father to sell and buy and do these other things to make money, and he's kind of being insubordinate as he does it. Karai's always had a problem with it, and
okay, okay, I got you.
Here she decides to remove him from the equation.
Yeah. You're a part of the price of acquisition. That's one of the best lines from her. So we go back to we don't go back to the sensei, do we? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we do.
Yep.
It goes
present day
because it's present day. She's telling him about the past, and so she says, "Toshiro, if I have nothing to offer but my past successes, what am I?" "So you've been up here whining to an old man. It makes sense now." What? And Leonardo shows up. Wow, that's crazy. He looks great though. As much as I hate that he's evil at this point, his design is amazing. Simply amazing. And he's basically goading her on. He's basically insulting the teacher, and
I'm not impressed. This school is garbage. If those out there are what's coming down the line for foot soldiers, we're in bad shape.
Which is so funny because the present day, she is trying to fight to become the Shunin, and Leo's basically gonna do what she did to the businessman. He's gonna put her in her place. Yeah, that image of the two of them, where she headbutts him. Wow. And then on the opposite page where he just like running fly leaps at her, does a running leap at her. That's amazing. So they basically fight it out, and it goes back to her monologue, and she says, "I know I should not have attacked him, but at least I cannot be faulted for disobedience. Less certain, where is it that she says? I thought there was something else there, but she's talking about how he's moving, and she says, we have fought before many times, but this time is different. He seems slower. less certain in his movements. I could end him today once and for all. It's because Leo's got some psychological issues.
Yeah.
He's dealing with. Um,
I almost think her decision to spare him at this point has something to do with respect for him as well, even though it's really, really buried underneath that pile of hatred for him. In the old Mirage run, when Karai shows up, yes, there's a bit of a small amount of animosity, but in general, they're on the same side, trying to retake the Foot Clan for being a legitimate kind of business thing. She's the head of that in the Mirage run, but they eventually start to spar together, and it's a tough kind of almost love relationship, and I think that's where every incarnation of Karai ends up heading, is that those two end up kind of really connecting, not physically, not legitimately, but there is that. Because they do it in the Nickelodeon series too. He has a crush on her. Is that right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, he has a crush on her, and she really wants nothing to do with him. They kind of play around with it a little bit. They kind of fool around. I don't know how much of a crush he's going to have on her now, but what's interesting, I know you said earlier in this episode you didn't mind spoilers, but I think you figured out that she got mutated.
No.
Oh, you didn't?
No, really? Into what? Please say a fox.
No. Yeah, I wish.
She's not a turtle.
No.
Okay, good.
No. She's some kind of. I'm gonna have to look it up afterwards, but basically the shocker is it's not that she gets mutated, it's what comes with her mutation. And I'm not gonna reveal that because I might tell you off air, but I'm not gonna reveal that to the listeners who have not seen the episode.
Okay. I need to go see what's streaming on Comcast, because they usually only have 4 episodes up there.
So, yeah. So we get back to this, and so she says, she goes to basically finish him off, but he counters. She submits. She says, I definitely know what I deserve. And he goes, as for you, old man, if the quality of training does not improve, the next visit will not be so pleasant. and the sensei is very respectful. He says, hi, Chunin. And Leo just kind of, I'll be watching. Leo has turned into Raph from the 2007 animated film. Like, I know Leo is bad here right now, but yeah. Oh man, it's crazy. And she says, I didn't kill him because I know how my grandfather thinks. If I had killed his Chunin, he would in turn kill me for disrespecting his will. No, I must change my grandfather's mind first. It's all about the mind games. So they talk about, she says to the sensei, make no mistake, I still claim victory today. I could feel his hesitation with the blade at my throat. He didn't have the resolve to kill me. And if he had, then we would both have deserved our fates. And this is that line that she says, he didn't have the resolve to kill me. I think that is something that comes back, because I don't want to say it's a hypnotic suggestion, but there's something of real Leo in his brain. Like, Kitsune only gave him enough brainwashing to be a lethal threat without actually being lethal.
And I have an interesting perspective from this, kind of going to not Karai. Kitsune's motivations on this. Now, was the work that she did on Leonardo just enough to make him evil, or is her work fragile enough that if he does kill, if he makes that move, that who he actually is would come to the surface and destroy all of her work? You know, did she leave it there on purpose? His hesitation to kill? Does she want him to experience this somehow? But then, or is it that it's, there's still him in there, and that they've got to crush it out of him or wait for it to go away before he can be a totally useful tool?
I'm not actually sure, honestly. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. So let's see, where are we here? So she goes back to, where's she going? She basically, she says, still, he was right about one thing. A leader should concern herself with the future. So you have decided on a direction after all. Then we fast forward to 2 days later. And we see her going to all of these, I assume, gang members.
Low-level foot thugs, yeah.
Yeah.
Not even purple dragons.
Yep. God. Oh my God. As soon as I read this, all I can hear is James Avery in my head. I need only 2 of you, and so we will conduct one final test to determine who will move forward. All as I can think of is...
What kind of a test?
Before that, what Shredder says, he's like, how would you like to get even with the turtles who so badly humiliated you? And they all just kind of cheer up, and he goes, but I only need 2 of you. And we see a human Bebop. What kind of test? We see a human Bebop, and the last ones standing stay.
That looks like a broken pool cue in her hand.
It is.
Room for some quick I don't remember what his line is. Quick expansion, but there's only one spot.
Yeah. And then that's... and then this was continued in TMNT 25, which we had talked about. So it ends with "Let us begin." Overall with Karai's story, I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, we finally understand where she's coming from because, like I said earlier, we don't have, we usually don't see a lot of her in the main ongoing because it's one of those things where we just don't see it.
Mm-hmm. And we needed to know this information to show
absolutely
how hard she worked, what she had to do to rebuild, to take back the Foot Clan, to bring it back to what she thinks it should be. This is all important stuff.
Very, very much so. Overall, the writing was great. I mean, and that's one of the coolest things about the ongoing is that you can have Waltz and Eastman writing. Well, Waltz does most of the writing, I assume.
I think Eastman's there as a token, and they go to him and say, hey, how's this sound? Yeah, great, guys, do it.
You can have Waltz doing all the storytelling in the main ongoing, and yet the feel of it these micro-series, all the ones we've talked about, the Turtles, the Friends of the Turtles, the first Villains one, and this one, they all continue with the same feel of the ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take, I wasn't so much worried about what these were going to be. I was more so curious about them, as I said earlier, because sometimes when different writers write the characters that I've been reading, it's not that, I really hate to do this, but take Kyle Higgins writing Nightwing. He wrote Nightwing number 28 and 29, which is the final 2 issues of his run. And then in Nightwing number 30, they go to set up the next series called Grayson, where he's basically the Nick Fury of the DC Universe. Mm-hmm. Those writers in that, they did a good job, but it just didn't have the same feeling for me reading them writing the character versus when Kyle wrote the character. But here in this, almost any of the IDW writers can come in and write these characters.
And I think that's a testament to Bobby Curnow for keeping all of this juggling together. And
absolutely,
I don't know if it's him alone or him and other people who find these creative teams to bring to them, or bring to the books.
Absolutely.
So good on him for juggling all of this.
Yeah, very much so. So we get. I have the one of the alternate covers is Karai in a pose with her sword, and all the candles have been blown out, and it's got a green background on it. And then we get to the story that I think that you and I are really going to differ on when we come to our opinions of it. We get to Hun.
The most controversial thing this book has done at any point.
The main cover here is, again, done by Tyler Walpole. I love his covers.
That's a beautiful cover.
That's absolutely beautiful cover. So we get to Hun, and he says, I guess I've been doing some bad things, but I'm not a bad guy. I just had demons, you know. Anyway, I'm Arnold, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi,
Arnold. So we see his past here a little bit. His monologue says, it goes back to when I was a kid. For a while there, I was pretty wild. But then I met a girl, got married, she straightened me out. And we see his wife, which this is really strange. Like, I see now how this happened, but this is just really, really strange. They, what I assume is his wife, and who is the other chick there?
Her reflection.
Oh, that's okay. Right. It's a mirror. Duh. She shaves his head, or she cuts his hair at least, down a little bit, and then they dye it black.
Well, I think it's dyed blonde, and that the black is his natural color. That's my interpretation of it. That he was wild and crazy and made his hair bleached.
Okay then. All right. So we get that. He says, we even had a kid, a boy. Things were good. Till they weren't. My wife got sick, and it hit me hard, so I started hitting the bottle, and even harder, lost my job. Wasn't an easy time for me and my boy. We had some disagreements.
You could say that again.
That's the understatement of the entire series of this comic book. So last month he hit bottom, knew he had to turn around. He says, see, my boy landed himself in the hospital. I still don't know how, but he was hurt bad. And how was I supposed to be strong for him, when I couldn't even be strong for myself? So we see that Arnie goes to this bar called the Sakara Bray, and the owner of it, who apparently is Angel's father, he says, Angel told me about your boy. Come on, and let me get you a drink. Again, the art, love the art in this.
This is of the three books, this is my least favorite art, but it's still good.
What don't you like about it?
I think as faces tilt, turn, lean in and out, the anatomy looks a little funky. It's a hard thing to do. It's it's one of the things that happens when you try to draw people from all these different angles. If you're not a savant at it, it ends up looking funny. But like I said, with a lot of this, they're drawing better than I can, so I can't really complain. I'm not allowed to.
So let's see. So he goes into the bar. They talk about who sliced up Casey, and the other guy says, "Kids today, no respect. Back in the day, no one would mess with you or yours. No one would have messed with Hun." And as soon as I saw him, like, wait, what? This miserable, abusive drunk was Hun? Seriously? Like, that was shocking to me.
See, I'm assuming you watched the 2002-3 series
Yeah.
more than I did. I watched it a while, but what do you think about this direction that they have taken Casey Jones's dad, or the Hun?
I'm kind of glad, because up until now, I would have been fine if Raph slit his throat. Honestly, if Raph killed him, I know the turtles don't kill, but if Raph basically beat him bloody and unconscious and slit his throat with a sai, I would have been fine with it, because Arnold Jones wasn't a character. Like, I felt some sympathy for him when he's talking about his wife and that he lost her and he hit bottom, but if you sit there and abuse your kid because you can't deal with your own life, you're a fucked up scumbag that does not need the time of day from anybody. And now that they're delving into and crafting this past for him, I still don't like the character. He's a horrible deadbeat dad who abused his kid. That's completely wrong and should never fucking happen. But it's one of those things where I'm glad they just don't have Casey and Raph going back every time something happens and Raph beating him up every single time. So I like that. I kind of like that that they're taking him in a direction without actually, just having him sit there.
Yeah, I can't think that Arnold Jones, Casey Jones's dad, has been in any other incarnation of the story, to my immediate knowledge.
They mention his parents at some point in one of the other series, but I honestly don't remember.
I can share this with our listeners. The character Casey Jones was introduced early in the Mirage run as, or their thought was, what if violence on television, violence in movies actually did affect somebody to do something? And so in the book, he's introduced as somebody who's watching these Dirty Harry movies, like, yeah, scumbag, get him, he deserves a beatdown. So when he goes out on the street, he's just murderously beating criminals because he's addicted to the violence, and that's how he kind of manifests it. That total irrational fear of violence affecting people on TV, they wanted to toy with that. That's how Casey was conceived, and that's obviously not what he is in this book or in other incarnations, but
I know Casey's got a lot of problems because of his dad. I understand that, and because of losing his mom. I'm hoping in the current timeline, where we are currently in issues 34 through 36, I'm hoping that they come around to make, not necessarily give Casey all the good funny lines, but make him a little bit more, like, I want to see Casey's development grow, and obviously they will do that when they can. But I want to see him get like, Casey is the guy who the term "nice guys finish last" really does apply to, because he's always getting crapped on.
I don't know Casey's, I think, getting kind of neglected lately. We haven't seen him in the mask, and again, I hate comparing it always to the Mirage run, but it's fresh in my mind. He eventually stops putting the mask on, and he just turns into a dad. But I think we really need to let Casey Jones be the vigilante Casey Jones for a while, and they haven't brought him there yet.
Yeah, no, they haven't, but I'm sure they will.
And he's still a kid. He's not an adult like he's been in so many of the other series.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, he's a kid in the 2012 cartoon.
Everybody's a kid in the 2012 cartoon.
Okay, well, I'm sorry you don't like the direction of it, but I mean, he is a when he's introduced in season 2, he is a hard nosed gotta
Yeah.
fight everybody. I mean, and he is because they're gonna eventually because they created this whole, which is so weird to me. They created this whole love triangle between him, April, and Donnie.
Does April know that love triangle exists? Because I don't think she does. From
I'm not sure. So we get this bar scene, and he does good. He
turns down the
refuses the
drink.
drink, turns down the drink. That's amazing. Um, and he says, "Took everything I had to get out of there and not take that drink. It's like we always say in here: old friends can be the most dangerous people to hang out with." But you gotta watch out for new friends, too. You need to come with me. You're one of those freaks who got my kid knifed up. Now, without boozing me, I'm a pretty reasonable guy, but some creeps just push your buttons. I didn't knife him up, but you may not be as lucky if you don't do as I say.
This is tuning evil Leonardo threatening.
This is Leo. Damn abomination. Stay down, old man. Let's not pretend you have any fight left in you. And to think you used to be Hun.
How does Leonardo know who Hun is? He's just reciting that. He has no clue.
I don't. Well,
they told him to go get this guy. I don't think he has any clue who he is.
Right.
Personally, anyway, or in his own brain, he doesn't know.
So we get back to Leo and Shredder. They wake him up. Shredder says, he's like, "Huh? What's that? Who the hell are you?" Someone who's about to change your life. And oh my, the art, and I love the art on this page.
This is nice.
Just the backgrounds. Let's see. So Shredder tells him about gutting his son like a fish. Well, he doesn't tell him that he did it, but he knows about it, and he's trying to talk him into being a true father, which is something I don't know if he can actually do. Shredder says, "But once you ran that gang, you kept them in line. I want you to do that again. Reclaim your manhood, your honor. Be an example for your son. Become Hun again." I'm not that guy anymore. No. But could you be? So there's this whole thing, and I'm not sure what to think of this, because they give him a vial of mutagen. Why do they give him a vial of mutagen?
It makes him big and strong again.
Oh, that's right.
There's a weird plot device element to what that mutagen is. Sometimes it turns you into a mutant turtle. Sometimes it heals you. Sometimes it turns you into a big hulking freak.
It looks like he's on steroids.
Yeah, so it's weird, but I'll buy it. I'll nod, and they're scientists. They know what they're doing, surely.
So he says he got back in shape, got himself spruced up. Hey, you got to look the part, right? And then there it was, my first day on the job. Who knew if I still had it in me? My hands were clammy. Now's when we make our move, Angel. The Savate won't see us coming. No, we're not getting into a gang war. That's not who the dragons are anymore. And then the other character says, "Let's put it to a vote." And she's like, "I'm in charge here." Oh, I agree. There ain't voting in this Purple Dragons. Who the hell? But that part about you being in charge? Nah. I don't see it that way. So, and in this image, I don't know if it's the way he's drawn, he still looks like a fat slob.
Yeah.
It must be the angle, because if you look at it, he's got his left knee bent, and he's kind of slouching.
It's the upward angle that they're showing us at. When you do that, they've got to be bigger at the bottom than they are at the top, so he doesn't get narrower in the waist like our brain says he should. So he's reading as chubby and round to us, but he still looks massive compared to everybody else, and that's
absolutely.
He's a good 3 or 4 heads taller than everybody else in the room in the next page.
Yep. I mean, and this fight scene, I love. I know you said this is your least favorite art, but I love this fight scene. This fight scene is amazing.
Oh, least favorite doesn't mean bad, because they're still pretty good. Pretty good stuff happening in this.
I mean, this fight scene basically, it's basically Christmas-like colors, because there's a lot of green on the bottom and a lot of red on the top.
A little less festive than that.
Well, the fight actually is not festive, but it's. So we get to after the fight, he says, "Now your old man and I go back a long ways, and you're Casey's friend. Better that they don't hear about this disagreement. You sign off on this, or I twist your head off your shoulders. Got me?" "Yeah, I got you. Good girl. Now, as for the rest of you, you guys figure out who your leader is yet?"
To the unconscious dudes on the floor.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he has a gut in that image.
Nope.
Not much of one, anyway.
It's that solid sumo gut.
God, Hun is a sumo wrestler. Oh my God. That would be crazy. So we get to the next page. He says, "Doors were opening for me. Turns out my job brought me back in touch with some old colleagues. And just like it says in step 8, I made amends." "My boss was thrilled with me. I felt great to have a purpose again." Yeah, he basically trashed a rival of Shredder's here. And he basically went out and got himself a new suit. Got a gift for Casey. Shows up. "How you doing, Case? Been too many hospital rooms, haven't we?" "Yeah, we have. So, hey, listen, I wanted you to know I quit drinking and I got a job."
He just does not look convinced at all.
No. And Casey even says, "You traded the sauce for the juice, huh?" So he brings this gift for Casey. We don't know what it is, and he basically wants them to team up. He wants Casey to come to the dark side. Had to make that pun. He says he's got to get back to work. When you're up on your feet again, maybe we can talk about you maybe coming on board with me. No stopping the Jones boys now. And we see the gift is his hockey mask,
which I thought Angel brings him later.
Yeah.
Oh, this must be a new one. The one that she brings him is his actual old one.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I wonder if that was an editorial. Oops. We'll have to ask. We'll have to ask Bobby next time.
Next time, yeah. And he goes on to say, "I ain't saying I don't think about having a drink now and then, but then I think about my job and how good I am at it."
As he's smashing some Savant ninjas through a chimney.
Yeah. Oh my God. Chimneys don't last too long when Hun is around. I don't know how I feel about him using a hockey stick, though. Not saying that I don't think that the Savate ninjas need to be beaten with a stick. I just don't know about Hun using sports equipment. That's a little strange to me because that's always been Casey's thing.
Yeah, maybe he found it on the roof? That doesn't make any
I
sense. I don't even know why
I
that
don't
needed
know.
to be there.
No, I don't either. I don't know where the hell he got the thing.
It's happening out of context there.
Yeah. So we get back to the AA meeting. He says, maybe I'll have a good soda instead. So this is my 1 month ship, and I'm proud to have it. One day at a time. Clap, clap, clap. The alternate cover that I have in the trade here is by Mike Henderson. It's of Hun with a dragon shadow on the wall. Oh my god. That is an awesome cover.
That would have been nice too. Huh. I tell you, I was against this decision when I found out that Casey's dad was Hun. I did not agree with it, but it's growing on me. I guess I was against it because I hate it when books like this or other series, things like that, they start to tie everything together too tightly. Like, okay, the Star Wars galaxy, it's nearly infinite, it's huge, you can go anywhere, but the same, 10 people know each other, and that bounty hunter in the background of episode 1 is the same bounty hunter who does something in a continuing universe book that's ridiculously important to the New Republic. I hate that kind of not tying, but this one, I'm coming around to it, just because it's creating more drama.
It's creating more drama for the Jones boys, and it's really what it's doing is, like I said earlier, it's giving Casey's dad character. Because before this, when we first started doing these episodes on the pull bag, I know me personally, I didn't give a crap about Casey's dad. He was just a deadbeat dad who'd be his kid who needed to get beat up by Raph and Splinter. And now that they're giving him character, they're giving me things that I want to I think it's amazing that they turned him into Hun, or that he what used to be Hun, and they turned him into that again. And it just creates all this tension, and it creates conflict, which is good because there's only so many times, this whole series, and we've said this before, it's a very tied together, not necessarily strict continuity, but fully, it's a whole continuous story on multiple levels. You've got the Shredder angle with Splinter and the Turtles. You've got the Krang with Shredder and Takeshi and all this. You've got Kitsune and her whole thing. You've got the Rat King. You've got Hun. You've got all of these connecting storylines that actually do matter. They don't just seem like one-off. They don't seem like one-off episode, like villain of the week type of thing.
And I'm
not at
so
all
thankful for that. I don't like that in an ongoing series. I would like that running parallel to this, but the only disappointing part is that they can't answer every question at the same time. They've got to focus. I'm sure at some point we're going to go back to Neutrino. I'm sure at some point we're going to go back to Dimension X. I'm sure at some point we're going to actually get to see the Technodrome. And I want all of that right now, but you've got to... I just hope that it goes on forever and we actually get these questions answered. I don't want this book to end in 13 issues and we never get to see some of these things I'm looking forward to seeing. Right. I don't think I've ever wanted a book to continue going more than this. Maybe Ultimate Spider-Man, but this one is definitely up there.
Yeah, no, we need to break that streak. We need to get to issue 75, issue 100, issue 150.
Oh, God, that would be so great. And, well, like the IDW thing, they always like to renumber their books, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen either.
No, I haven't seen anything from IDW that has been renumbered yet.
Ghostbusters renumbered, Star Trek renumbered.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, well, the IDW books that I have read end up renumbering. Oh. And it's because, when you get to issue 30-something, the new readers look at that and go, backstory, I don't want to have to... And then so they renumber it to make it look like it's easier to jump on.
Right.
I just think they need to say, a new story arc starts here. And that's good. Then keep me going with my continuity.
Right, absolutely. So, overall, I love the Hun story. I think it, like I said already, finally we get something for Casey's dad to
Uh-huh.
do instead of just being there. Um, the art was really cool. It was a little off kilter in some places. Like I said, we talked about the different angle of how, we see him bulk up, and then we see him out in the street, and the angle of looking up at him, it's a little strange, but because it makes him look like a fat slob still. But overall, I really enjoyed Han. Now we get to the musical styles.
I don't think I realized that till I was an adult. Oh, wait a minute. They're naming themselves after. I get it.
So we get Bebop and Rocksteady. Oh my god!
How do you feel about these characters? I mean, I don't know how the pacing at which you read these series, but as soon as you got the word that Bebop and Rocksteady were coming to the IDW universe, what was your first impression?
I found it interesting. They basically took the animated series origin, like I mentioned earlier in the Karai book.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really word for word, but it's almost word for word what James Avery Shredder said in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they pick him out of the final two, and she goes and mutates them behind Shredder's back, which is fine because it eventually works out. And I love it. They kept the design. They didn't try to mess with the design at all. I mean, these look like modern day. If you look at this cover by Tyler Walpole, they look like modern day versions of the 87 characters.
I was afraid only because that cartoon is so silly compared to anything modern about what they were going to do with those characters and how they were going to portray them. But I don't know. Before, I guess we'll discuss it after we go through the issue, I think. Ben Bates, though, and he did the second story arc, right?
Yeah.
Kind of that Mignola, because this doesn't look like that Mignola-esque type drawing that I remember from that. There's not a lot of black, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you go over the first page. I'm going to look for one of those old series behind me here.
Yeah. So we get the first page here, and Bebop is getting punched. And they're basically fighting all these guys. Oh yeah, Bebop is getting punched. And Rocksteady says, "You can't do this. You're out of the gang. Now stay down. You guys are lucky. I'm letting you off easy. And just a suggestion, try losing those stupid gang names. They're music styles. Don't anybody care about music? He only listens to top 40, Bebop. He ain't taking us back. Great. This is just great. Now what do we do? Head home, I guess? I mean, these guys got beat the crap out of. They really, really did. With the and the first page is great art. It really is. It's a completely different art style, but it so works with what the universe is set up already.
And it fits the characterization of this story. Because this, I think, out of the four micro series we're doing today, this one it's the most different in tone, and the art fits that perfectly. More frenetic, more energetic.
Yeah.
More humorous, I think, too.
Very much so, yeah. So they go back to their house.
House.
Okay, well,
squalid, collapsing apartment.
Hole in the wall. Yeah. We got nothing. No gang, no power. We ain't even got no freaking food. Hey, it's cool. What do you say we go score some cash? We'll stick up some chump or jack that cash machine like we was talking. No, I am sick of this. And Bebop is getting really like he wants to. God, I'm gonna make the Clerks reference again. He wants to improve his station in life. Which is very, very interesting. So they go back to, let's see, let's see. We gotta find some way of getting out of this hole we're in. We can't screw up no more. We'll find another gang, and we'll do better. We'll be smart. From now on, it's a new Rocksteady and Bebop.
I like the tone that they're taking the characters. They're making them these, well, just like they were bumbling idiots who just want to belong and have no clue how to do things the right way. They can't even do bad the right way. So they end up at a bar, and one of their drinking buddies is saying, "Hey, I know a guy who knows a guy who knows about this Foot Clan thing, and they're the hottest thing in town. Maybe you guys ought to check that out." And they see it as their opportunity to get in with somebody.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So they go to let's see here. So they go to check out the Foot Clan, and we have Karai here. I'm only looking for the bravest and the strongest among you. Volunteers for this special unit will be taking a quantum leap in status if you are content at the bottom of the Foot Clan, content with being inferior, then continue to waste your life. But if you want more for yourself, then join me. Those to prove themselves worthy will be one day become the ultimate foot soldiers. I offer you a chance to become mutants. And Bebop and Rocksteady mop the floor with everybody else. First of all, they are like 10 times the size of half these guys as humans. I mean, they're, bulked up and beefy and everything else. So, let's see here.
The panel where everybody's defeated and they're just standing there covered in blood with these giant grins on their faces. At blood and broken and torn skin, and they're just happy to be a part of it. It's like so dumb and ignorant that this is the best time of their life right here.
Yeah, and then we get to their selection because they are the last two standing, so they get to become mutants. And Rocksteady says, "I want to be a dinosaur. I wonder if they got that. Rhinosaurus. Nice." That's not one. Rhinosaurus. Oh my god. You can tell his intelligence quotient just by that right there. So they pick it up. They pick their animals. They get shocked as all hell, and Rocksteady says, "Rock and roll."
And then the reveal of their fully mutated selves. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous page. It's a 2-page spread.
Yep.
With the two of them, and it's my favorite Rocksteady and Bebop illustration style I think I've ever seen. My favorite part are the folds of skin, the plates over his shoulders. I really like that look of that because real rhinos have that on their forelegs. And the red eyes, those frenetic lines for the fur on Bebop.
Yeah. That's amazing. So we get the reveal, and surprisingly, as I said earlier, with the first cover of the issue here, surprisingly, in this where it says Bebop and Rocksteady, that image of them above where she says, "You will be reborn as mutants." It looks so much like 1987. It's such a good thing, and they kind of, I don't know. they kind of act like it, like they did then, but they're not as like they screw up in this. Let's not beat around the bush about that. They do screw up, but I don't think they're as dim-witted as the '87 ones were portrayed as. But I still love it because it's almost like coming back to those characters, 30 years.
Yeah, they're different in a particular way that I'll bring up when we get to that page in a few moments. But they're a different kind of bumbling now.
Yep, very much so. So let's see here. We get to some rush hour traffic here. I'll be meeting with Zhang Fei Tong, the boss of the Ghost Boys and a triad gang in Chinatown. You two are there to accompany me. Your presence will make it apparent the might of the Foot Clan. The might of the Foot Clan. I like that. The Zhang guy, you want we should rough him up a little? Let him know who's boss around here? You will do no such thing. And this basically turns into a nightmare. Karai should have never brought them to this place. Because, like I said before, Bebop and Rocksteady, they are just... They're just bumbling. I mean, they do their job well, but they go and insult the Ghost Boys, and an all-out war breaks out between the two of them.
Well, the panel that I think is telling of everything that we'll see from Bebop and Rocksteady from here out is on the page where, all right, you two, you stand here, don't do anything, just look tough, and Karai and the boss go into the other room. So now it's just the henchmen are in the room staring each other down. Bebop walks up to one of them and says, "Hey, nice pajamas, but what's that on your shirt?" And he points down, the guy looks down, and then he does the thing where you flick the nose, only there's so much power and strength behind him that he ends up taking his nose off, breaking his nose. I don't think that was intentional on Bebop's I think he thinks it's funny and he's glad that he did it once it's happened. But the chaos that ensues after they start kind of bouncing off of each other to the point where the whole room gets destroyed and everybody's dead except for Bebop and Rocksteady is that they're so incredibly powerful now that every little movement that they do will tear things apart, and that's the kind of chaos that they're going to be surrounded with, and it's the blunt instrument that they've become. These are the two guys you put in the room when you don't care what happens, and they'll take care of it. Because that is indeed what happens. Rocksteady socks one of the guys who confronts him. "Why'd you just break his nose? You're a freak for that." Bam! Launches him into the air and out the window. Oh, it's entertaining because of their own commentary of, were we supposed to do that? Doesn't matter. It's fun now.
Yeah, it's absolute fun. And so Karai and the gang leader come out.
What the heck was that?
Bebop goes after the female boss, and they're like, Rocksteady's like, "I got an idea. We'll cut her off at the pass." So
he hangs an immediate left.
This entire building is like one of those mazes you see in Chinese food restaurants, the kiddie menu mazes. And Bebop's like, "Rocksteady, you're a genius."
As he's going through 1, 2, 3, 4 walls, trying to cut her off.
Yep. Let's see. So they get to her. He says, "You missed her. She's right there, you bozo." The Ghost Boys will never bow to trash. First you ruin the meeting, Now you insult the might of the Foot Clan.
Calling back the line. He doesn't know what it means. He's just happy to say it. And he gets like this wicked gash in his shoulder, which he doesn't seem to mind.
Yeah, no, doesn't seem to mind too much. And then this is the downfall of Bebop and Rocksteady, really, where I see this in the series, because Bebop's like, "What are you doing? Your horn almost poked my eye out, you jerk! Who you calling a jerk, you gumball? I would have had her if you wasn't in my way." And they start fighting with each other, more so than getting the gang leader, and she escapes and gets to more of her gang members, and they start shooting them. Bebop's like, "Hey, that tickles."
My favorite panel in the whole book.
Yeah. If that tickles... Oh my God. Did you see this? He's got bullet holes in his back, and you can see the blood coming out of his... Are you seriously telling me that he cannot feel that, really?
I think it's another sign of how powerful these two guys have become. And what I like that they're doing by, hey, that tickles, and some more stuff that happens later, is they've turned Bebop and Rocksteady into legitimate threats, which they haven't ever been before. And I like that. They are still clowns, they're still numbskulls, but they're legitimate threats. They can level a building without too much effort and laugh about it. I think they've turned them into, they're maybe not interesting characters, but they are a whole lot of fun now.
Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. So let's see, we get to the female leader escapes. The police are already there. I love these. These two are amazing. The cops, what should we do now, Bebop? Maybe we pretend to be regular warthog and rhinoceros, and they'll just let us go. What's that sound? Wait, how many walls did we break down? There was the first one, then there was... Crash. The entire building gets destroyed. And Bebop comes out. They both come out, but Bebop comes out. Eat this, suckers! Oh my God. I love these guys. Mm-hmm. I really do. Oh man, we screwed up, Bebop. Karai was in there. I think we just killed Karai! The ghost guys started it. None of this would have happened if they hadn't started it. And also, these Chinatown buildings, they're not just made of good. I think they're made in China.
I didn't catch that line.
Wow. Bebop Karai is dead, and we're probably also killed whatever deal they were trying to make with the ghost guys. We screwed up. We screwed up again. You're right, Shredder's gonna kick us out of the gang, for sure. Or worse. What could be worse than getting kicked out? Really? So you had to ask that? Seriously? And of course Bebop says, he'll kill us. Kill us? We're super strong. We could probably take him easy. We'll pound him into letting us work for him. These guys are amazing. They really, really are. And the Foot Clan show up, and we have... Oh, I cannot believe. Who's on the art in this? Is it Duncan?
Ben Bates.
I think. Yeah, Ben Bates. Ben Bates made Spider-Man appear in this book. Thwip, thwip, thwip. Because that's the sound effect the throwing stars make when they hit Bebop. And they go, you guys got it all wrong. Yeah, we was just doing our job. The Ghost Boys started the fight, and then Karai ran away. Yeah, she said nobody understands me, and so on. And of course, Karai shows up. She's not dead. And they're just look at that panel. They're just A rhino and a warthog should not look that happy. Like, seriously. That's awesome. She says, "You two have dishonored the Foot Clan and brought me shame. I knew that you were stupid, but this time it's time to cut my losses. Goodbye, Bebop and Rocksteady."
The Foot Ninjas deploy their Manriki Gusari, try to tie them down, but it's Bebop and Rocksteady who just leveled a building, and they start just destroying everything. And here again, as this fight goes on, they're getting stabbed, ninja stars thrown at them, there are swords sticking out of their bodies everywhere, and they just don't seem to mind at all.
No.
And it's done in a cartoony way. You know, we're not meant. I don't know if this is supposed to be figurative or literal, but it either way, it's showing us how dangerous they are and how hard they will be for the turtles to stop.
Oh, absolutely! Like, I cannot wait to see a fight with them in the turtles.
Yeah, I mean, besides the one that we got in that one, because that was like they're on the way to retreating when they show up, and I think that first 2-on-4 is going to be great.
Yeah, you know what? You know where I want to see this battle take place, and I don't know if they'll do this. I don't think they will. I would love to see them reenact the battle at the zoo. And have them fool them into getting locked into the cages. But see, that's the thing, though. I don't know if this version of Bebop and Rocksteady, like in the cartoon, they couldn't break out of the cages. But I don't know if this... I mean, they just, like you said, they just leveled a friggin'
They
building.
could walk through the bars.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, but I really want them to recreate that scene at the zoo and have them trapped in the cages and have to have the foot robots come up and pull them underground. Oh, God, that would be so amazing. That really, really would. Bobby, get on that. Oh, my God. This is so awesome.
So after they level the Foot, Karai decides to step in and remind them that though they're powerful and just dispatched a bunch of disposable foot ninjas, that she is still capable of destroying them. What is she? She takes a clip from one of his guns, shoves it in his mouth to keep his mouth open, and then sticks a dagger down his throat and says, "Move," and well, basically says, "Move and I'll kill you."
Move and you're dead, yeah. And she goes on to say, defeating foot soldiers is one thing, but to me, you are vulnerable idiots whom I have no problem killing. Violence, destruction, I see now that this is all you are good for. Today I'm letting you live, but never forget, your lives now belong to the Foot. Rocksteady apologizes. She says that Zhang Fei Tong was an arrogant fool, and the Ghost Boy's demise was inevitable, and Bebop's like, I think that means we're still in. Oh, my God.
And they haven't bothered to remove any of the things sticking out of them.
No!
And wonderful continuity as well, because that axe stays in his right arm for a very long time.
Does it? Yeah. So we go to later that night, and they are singing their own song about themselves. God, these guys are just amazing. They really, really are. I loved Rocksteady. Like, I wasn't sure what they were going to do with them, but I love what they did with them.
Yeah, this was the moment where I stopped being so worried about what IDW was going to do with any of the characters that show up, that after this, anything they could do, I'll probably love. And so I chilled out worrying about this. They could bring Venus de Milo into this book, and it would probably be cool. I hope they don't. I bet we should ask Bobby if they have rights to her.
Dude, do not jinx. No, don't even. Just don't even. The last few seconds of this podcast do not count. Nobody listen to what Joe just said. Are you crazy? You're going to give them ideas?
I don't think they will. I don't think they'd be that silly. I think, one, they probably don't have the rights to the character. Two, I don't think anybody as a creator would, on this book, as a creator in the group, would ever think that was a good idea.
Let's hope not. Let's really, really hope not. Oh my God. You just imagine the can of worms you just opened.
Hate mail.
Oh man. Alright, so we get to the final story here, and it is The Shredder. The art is done by Tyler Walpole, and this cover here with Shredder sitting in his spider chair? Wait, 1, 2, 3. No, that's 4 legs. It can't be a spider. Oh wait, it's got more underneath. So maybe it's a spider back. It kind of, to me at first when I looked at this cover, I thought it was like a turtle shell. For some odd reason, I really did. The back of his chair. It was just like a first glance kind of thing. But you see the intricacy in the art on that cover with the chair back, all the faces in the. Oh man, that is amazing. And seeing him here, I wish this was the art for him all the time. This glossy, kind of heavy shot. This reminds me of Movie Shredder. Mm-hmm. Not the new Movie Shredder, the original Movie Shredder. We don't want to talk about new Movie Shredder, I don't think.
Not yet. I've heard people have previewed it, heard from people who have previewed it and said it's actually pretty good. Cool. But I don't know those people, so I don't trust them yet.
Why don't you synopsize this one?
All right, well, shoot, it's the one that I didn't actually preview before recording this. Curse you. Well, so I don't know what's going on here. The Foot Clan guys, Hun, Karai, Kitsune, some business guy, and Shredder at a quarterly meeting, and they're discussing how good things are looking for the Foot Clan. The turtles have disappeared, they're making bank, they're quieting down the other gangs, they have brute force, but Shredder at this point still doesn't know about Bebop and Rocksteady.
Right, yeah.
Meeting's adjourned, and somebody makes a passing joke at Shredder's immortality or coming back from the dead, and he changes the subject, sends everybody out of the room. Kitsune, of course, being who she is, stays and says, "How come every time somebody brings that up, you try to end the conversation?" And he ends the conversation again, walks away, or tries to. She follows him and asks, "So, you were gone for 300 years. You're in the same body. It's physically the same you, but where did your soul go?" And he says, "Well, let me tell you."
Yeah, this one to me is a little strange.
It definitely, this is Dan Duncan doing the art, so we're kind of going back to first story arc.
It's not the art that is strange, it's the story.
Yeah, well,
strange to me.
We see Shredder falling, landing in water. The colors are strange here. He's not wearing his mask, but this must be immediately after he died. And what I interpret where he's at, he's in Japanese land of the dead, and maybe it's not exactly heaven, hell, or wherever they go, but it's some weird limbo. He is met by this child thing, either wearing a mask or it's a demon face with the bottom tusks, and he says, what am I doing here? It's like, that's the big question, isn't it? This place is for the dead. Everyone else here is a permanent resident, but not you. You're just passing through in between life and death. He says, "You think you can take my soul?" "Oh no, that's not how it works. We can't take your soul, but you can give it to us." And he departs and leaves, and he sees a castle in the distance and decides, if there's a leader in this land, that's where I'm going to head. I'm going to go find the leader and see what's going on here, figure out what's going on here. And knowing the Shredder, even though he hasn't said it yet, I think he's going to conquer this place. Yeah, in fact, he does say it. The child's warning gave me no pause. This was just another realm to conquer while he's waiting to go back to Earth.
Right, exactly.
Passing shadow-eyed people who are just reflections of them, of their former selves. Nobody's really bothering him. He passes an army that he ignores. so as not to attract attention.
The Shadow Eyes panel here, where he says, it's a horrifying fate, one that awaits every man and woman on this earth. I vowed it would not be mine. That panel, the guy in the background, Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat.
Well, anytime you put one of those rice hats on somebody, rice straw hats, it looks like that.
Yeah. Oh my god. So he passes all these armies by, and he says, most warriors will follow a certain path, and each path has its own weaknesses. Discover the weaknesses, strike fast, and you can prevail. Some fight to the ground, exposing the face to easy attack. Some only work in close quarters, allowing opponents to simply step back and strike. And some formalists, too accustomed to rules and regulations, are easily surprised. That headbutt is, oh my god. Ugh. It looks like the way Dan Duncan did the art here, it looks like they're a two-headed person. Like the way their foreheads are on that bottom right-hand panel, it just...
Oh yeah, the energy between them it's so forceful that the colors combined.
Yep.
So Shredder's trying to gather this army, I think I'm interpreting as that, to go take over this castle. Yeah. And I think what does he say here? You can fight me, maybe even defeat me, and then it will be over, and you'll be left here where I found you, maybe with no enemy, with no battle. Or you can follow me and battle an army, and when I arrived here, they told me that this place was a place of peace. Do you feel peaceful? Sounds like they're going to go attack the castle. Which they do.
Yep. As I'm looking through this, I'm really seeing where all the red comes from for him. Because there's some red backgrounds, and obviously he does have his little scarf snuggie thing there. He says, he asks them, he says, he asks them, do you feel peaceful? And they go and get, we get to the castle, and we see a demon. Every time I see samurai armor with large people in them, like this guy that he's facing.
Oh yeah, the king at the end.
Yeah. Every time I see that samurai armor like that, I will forever think of Turtles 3. And them in the samurai armor, in the guard's armor.
I really need to watch that movie again. I don't think I've watched it since I was 13, 14 years old. I have it on Blu-ray, bought it, but...
So he's fighting the king, and he basically doesn't really fight him too much. I mean, he fights him, but he says he basically lets him wear himself out. Certain that I could keep him down. So certain I would defeat you that I would rule forever. And now, do it. And man, that image of him killing the king is amazing.
Well, oh, I'm getting what's happening here. So he throws the king down at the feet of his demon army, the monstrous people that his army was fighting, and the child appears with the demon mask and takes the helmet off the king, and it's old Orokosaki, who's not. We haven't seen old Orokosaki yet, but Shredder recognizes it as himself. The child says, "Thank you for killing the king." He says, "Let me tell you what the future holds. You will lead armies, you will conquer the world, and then destroy it. And yes, Orokosaki, you will even conquer the afterlife, but time does not travel in a straight line, not here. So one day, and so someday, today, you will encounter the one person whose thirst for power equals your own. And it's you."
Yup. You know what this reminds me of now that I see this reveal again? I know this is going to be bad, but reminds me of the Power Rangers Dino Thunder episode where Tommy had to fight all his previous versions to be able to come back to life. Because there was a part in Dino Thunder where Jason David Frank came back for that series, there was a part of it where when he got his Dino Gem, which was the gimmick for that series, the power source for that series, it was the power of invisibility. One of the villains did something and it made him invisible all the time, and he just had his ranger body and he did the voiceover because Jason David Frank at that time was off doing something else, I guess, but he still did the voiceover. So he wasn't in the show, but he was, because they kept saying, "Oh, he's in a coma" and whatever else. And in this coma dream, we see him fighting the Green Ranger, the White Ranger, the Red Ranger, and all that stuff that he was before. So that's what this kind of reminds me of. The final page here, he goes on to say, "Now that I know what's coming, I'll do it right. I'll become stronger, more powerful. And when the time comes, I will conquer. I will gut my younger self like a fish. I will tear him limb from limb. I will burn him down and spread his ashes across my kingdom. I will conquer, as I always do."
Only the irony of that whole thing is we've already seen that he doesn't kill.
Yeah.
He doesn't win against his younger self. And if he did win against his younger self, what would that do? That it would jack up the timeline, or at least of his rebirth. It'll be impossible for him to do.
You know what? These 4 stories are all awesome in their own right. When I read these, as I said earlier in this episode, I wasn't sure what to expect. I'm very happy that I have read them. I'm very happy with all of the, there hasn't been a single thing. When we've done these episodes, there's been certain things about the art that I've criticized, but the writing is solid throughout all of it. I mean, every single piece of writing that's in this is completely solid, and it's just so... It's a fun read. It's a very fun read.
Peter Laird has said in his letters columns in Volume 4 that he's not a fan of the story arc and doesn't like that type of writing. And maybe it's just not his style, and he's not good at it or whatnot. But this has been the tightest continuity that we've ever seen from a Ninja Turtles comic ever. Weaves in and out of itself, comes around to remind you what happened, and the writing is incredibly solid. If I am on the street homeless, lose my house and job, and have no money, this book and Ultimate Spider-Man will be the 2 that I still somehow read, probably because I steal them because I'm poor and homeless. But maybe I'd try to buy them because. But these I could not.
Wow.
I could not go on without reading these books. They're just too well written.
I think you would, rise up and conquer being homeless because you have your wife and your child to think of first.
Yeah, we would, of course, we would. It would never get that bad. But if it did, I would find a way to read these books.
In the trade, we have a couple of the other alternate covers. Number 8, the retail incentive cover, was an artist edition cover. It's all pencils with Shredder attacking one of the monsters. Let's see, and that was done by Dan Duncan. The next one is Bebop and Rocksteady, done by Chris Uminga, I assume. That's so wrong. Oh my god, have you seen this cover before?
Which one?
The one by Chris Uminga.
Who's
Bebop and Rocksteady.
I gotta open that issue again. They put the alternate covers inside the front.
Oh, they did.
Tiny. They're very tiny.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, are they eating turtles?
Yes, that's so wrong.
Oh, I love the one where they're at the all-you-can-eat restaurant.
Yep.
I now have to meet Ben Bates and ask for a sketch of those two.
The final ones I have is a black and white of the Hun cover we saw earlier. And then there's the four, kind of like put all together, but it's a black and white versions of them, but they're not sketched. They're the fully drawn covers that we've seen throughout this. The first covers, but they're all in like a black and white, kind of like a movie kind of thing. It looks really, really cool. But yeah, the one where they're eating turtles, I was like, oh god, that's so wrong. Yeah, overall, I am so stoked now. We've got City Fall is behind us. It was amazing. The villains micros, both of them, were amazing. With City Fall behind us, the next episode that we'll be doing for Turtles is Northampton. And this is the one where when you sit down and read issues 29 through 32, 33, 32, I forget which.
About there.
I forget. It's because 34, I believe, is the introduction of Metalhead. When you sit down to read these, when you go back to read them for the podcast, you're gonna see what I was talking about with Raph and Alopex. I'm gonna make sure you see that, because that I know is it. I don't know how far they're gonna take that, but
I wouldn't surprise me if they're gonna take it as far as Ninjara.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean that's it for overall. City Fall was amazing. I wasn't sure what to think of it, because originally when I started getting these, I started getting them in single issues, and I started with 21, and I started I never really read them because I wanted to. I still, at that point when I was getting them singly, I started with 21 and went to 29, and I stopped getting the singles because then we went back and I got the trades. But when I started buying them, I just bought them and put them on my shelf because I had yet to read the first 20 issues. City Fall is one of the best story arcs so far.
Yep.
No.
The first one holds its place in my heart, but this was...
Yeah.
And I think every story arc we read from here on out from these guys is going to be the best story arc, just because it's been such a consistent book.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I loved the Metalhead issue 34.
And everybody calls that the Metalhead issue, but I don't think... I think that the character Nobody, got lost on a lot of people because they weren't there for the Tales of the Turtles Mirage run. I think that's an incredibly important character that they've never dealt with, and I'm excited to see where they'll take her.
Now Nobody and Renette are not the same character, right?
No.
Okay.
Nobody was in the original series was a cop who dressed up in a black suit and was kind of a vigilante. What he couldn't get done as a cop, he did that. And the Turtles helped him with a case in one of the original Tales of the Turtles books. And then he showed up again in Volume 2, and I think he died. But it was a really cool character that I think deserved his own comic. And it was a he in that. Wow, what was that? It was a he in that run. But I'm interested in seeing now if Angel will become a cop, and it's another opportunity to get some... Well, I'm hoping that it will lead to Nobody getting his own comic, or her own comic now, in a way, because I think it's an interesting character.
The only reason why I said that the issue 34 is the Metalhead issue is because, well, I mean his targeting grid is on the cover, and then the cover B is him and Angel. And it really does focus on, it's focusing on April and Donnie and Casey and Angel, and we then get back to Harold's and all that stuff. But coming up next for the pull bag next week, I believe we're going to have an Origins episode with Star Joe's Chuck. After that, I'm not sure what's going to be coming out. I believe week 3 of August is more Transformers stuff. And then first week of September, we're going to be doing Northampton. So that's what's coming up from the pull bag. Is there anything you would like to promote, sir?
There will be another Geek Stuff garage sale in September, probably around September 25th.
Oh, good. We'll have the damn it, the Northampton episode is coming out that first week, so you can definitely pimp that out when we record that.
Wonderful. Yeah, you can find us find information on the Geek Stuff garage sale at facebook.com/Geek Stuff garage sale, all one word. You can send us a like there, and that's where the up-to-date information gets posted.
Awesome. What kind of drama is going on over at Off the Cuff?
It's fake drama.
I know.
It's manufactured. It's some kind of like, let's just bash the other podcast and let them bash us back, so we have fun. I don't know. I'm staying out of that. I've never even listened to another podcast, so I don't know.
It was one of those things where I've been watching the comments on episode 51 or no, episode 52, and it's like, a podcast war that could be interesting. You know, a podcast war within the entire network. And the funny thing is about that, we were going to, and I've mentioned this in other places beforehand. I think I mentioned it in the GCR 5-year show on Geekcast Radio's flagship podcast. Originally, the April Fool's joke for 2014, and Steve and I, we always plan April Fool's stuff, but it usually gets to like March 29th, and we're like, we plan the ideas, but we never execute them, and we're like, no, forget it. The idea for the April 1st, 2014 April Fool's Day joke for Geekcast Radio Network was, that's it. We're done. We've had 5 great years, but everybody hates everybody. No one can record any podcasts. No one can get any work done. The network is going dark. We never got it off the ground. But yeah, go check out Off the Cuff. I love listening to you guys. It's hilarious. That last episode I mentioned, episode 52, hearing Art get more and more frustrated. That was awesome.
I don't remember what happened anymore.
Sean Z kept interrupting him. Like, you guys couldn't get the show started.
That's right, yeah.
You guys couldn't get the show started. So Art's like, I'm just going to drop him from the call.
I do that. Upset the report. Fine.
All right. Yeah, you can find Joe over at Geek Stuff Garage Sale on Facebook. You can find me at TFG1 Mike on Twitter, TFG2 Mike on Facebook. You know, it's been like every time you and I sit down to do this, it's amazing. It's just like there's so much to soak in with this series, and it's just mind blowing. Mm-hmm. So, all right. That's going to do it for us. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
See ya.
We may, just to give people a little, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I'm thinking after a certain date in August, I might be doing some sort of special with some sort of anniversary documentary. So we'll have to talk about that off air.
Okay.
Yeah, make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
Now you boys have fun together, and we'll be back to check on you in about 10 years.
Dumb. Those dudes are so dumb.
Okay, guys, where's the action?
Afraid you missed all the good stuff.
Oh, well, that's just great.
Of course, you could get a shot of those two bozos. Get back here and fight, you little web-footed creeps!
Oh, wow!
You little bimbo! I'll make you eat that camera!
Where'd those guys come from?
Come on, we must get Splinter home.
Let's take the van. I'm not letting you guys out of my sight until I've gotten the whole story.
You'll get it. Remember, the shredder's still loose.
And probably trucking around in that Technodrome again.
took you so long?
The Shredder wants to have a little talk with you.
You couldn't maybe put us back in that cage there, could you?
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you are leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.